Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Ravens Outpost. How's everybody doing tonight? We're back Saturday Night Roundtable, and we've got Claude, who's been with us before. Welcome back, Claude. How you doing?
Evening. Thank you for having me back.
You're welcome, man. We've got Buck. Going for Buck Wild tonight. Sticking with that moniker. It
Here's
works
the thing.
too.
Shit, what's that song? It's Saturday night. All right, all right. Do you think you get sued if you played that? So
Probably. I'd definitely get a strike.
you would get demonetized. You're like, I'm not even monetized. You already did this to me.
So everybody,
Good old
whoever
YouTube.
showed up, whoever showed up Wednesday night and was part of the show, some weird shit went down with Buck with his phone and all that, and
Yep.
a lot of us felt that energy when I'm going to tell you this right now. I don't know if I told you this before, man, but there's quite a few of us who've talked about it, and when that interference started kicking in, I almost felt like there's something wrong, and there was quite a few who was feeling the same thing. So I mean, just kind of wanted to pick up, almost pick up where you left off. There's a few people who would really like to know exactly what the hell is going on here. Um, if you want to give a kind of a Clef Notes version of some of the crazy shit that's been going on, do you mind doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. So this property is, as I was just saying with Claude, it's only, I mean, hell, this year 40 years old, and it's actually where I use a workshop, paint shop, whatever area, and stay here sometimes whenever. And because I'm usually my girlfriend on the actually it's funny it's the same street but it's just 20 minutes away down the other end. So in the main house though my it's just my mom and her husband and the little cat, the little kitten that's now in there. So and then mostly just me and my dog. So um, they moved in here I believe. Oh God, it's almost 4 years now. Actually, summer 2018, moved in then, and I wasn't really around on the property or anything for. I didn't start using this area up here and kind of fixing it up because it's unfinished and stuff, and I've been kind of trying to do what I can with it. But I didn't start using it. I guess I want to say till late, almost a year after they moved in. And I didn't have my little dog at the time, so and I didn't have a whole lot. I just was starting out with a lot of just easy kind of stuff, and so I wasn't up here all the time. I was up here enough. I Nothing really weird. The only bizarre thing, the first thing that kind of I guess happened here was around that time when I was first starting to use it. I had my laptop up here doing a school assignment, and I had my phone using it, texting. Well, I go to leave after I'm done or whatever for the day, and go to use my key fob, it won't work. And so I go inside and I like kind of open my stuff up again because I was like, I don't even remember why I did, but I just was like, well, wait a minute, what the hell? My phone's dead now. Like it kind of went out for no reason. I'm like, what the hell? And then like I noticed my laptop battery, even though I usually keep it plugged in, whatever. It's like half, and I'm like, how in the hell did this all? It's like just enough. It's not the laptop's not dead, but it's half. It's like, and it was definitely plugged in. It's just weird things like that started off, and I was like, okay, whatever. It's like these electronic disturbances, and so fast forward, uh, I want to say 2021 fall. I don't know if anything else happened here. Again, I didn't use it as frequently as I have in the last 2 years since 2020ish when the pandemic hit, lockdown, whatever. What I gather is the first weird incident. My mother heard knocking, and it's then a week later I heard that same knocking. It's two knocks when you're in the laundry room. The only time anything's actually recurred, or we've had a repeat incident, if you will, it was the same time of day. Weirdly, oddly enough, weather conditions kind of the same too. A clear sunny day. I don't know if that's correlation, but I keep track of weather for all this stuff too.
Yeah.
All that. Um, so that's kind of one of those things. It's just it was one of those things. It's like I heard the knock and I'm like, oh, my nephew and her went in the garage because I was doing laundry at the time, and the garage is closed. Nobody's there. And I'm like, well, what the
Right.
hell? Maybe they're at the front door. Well, no, they're not at the front door either. So that knocking originated from the area there, the foyer area where there's a little landing. You go up, there's a front door. You go down some steps. Garage door is attached on the right hand side there. I'm in a little room on the left there, not 2 feet away, without the door closed. And like I said, heard this clear as day. And then, my mother's always been a little bit hesitant to, because she's experienced some things too, but she's very hesitant. This is the first time I've seen her be very like open and like, I don't know what that was. I don't want to think about it, but also she will talk about it more. Anyway, just little electronic services. There was one night, and again, I don't think this is anything. Hopefully it just doesn't, whatever, lead people to think anything of what this could be. But there was one evening, I wasn't here. A lot of the weird stuff, like, I'll tell you who was here and who wasn't. So, just to move forward, it was just my mom and her husband. Well, around midnight, and this was in December of 2021, they hear three like raps on wood outside, like near their deck area. They have a deck and they have like a 2-level house. And so they're up on about 12 feet off the ground, pretty much like this. He's in the bedroom, hears the knocks, says something to her like, hey, Karen, did you hear those knocks? She says, yes. She's all the way in the living room. And that is, you shouldn't be able to hear them as clearly. It's almost
Right.
This is one of those weird things. I've tried to replicate that because they wrote it off like, oh, it was, maybe the retirees in the condos over there who are, age range is usually in the late 70s. I bet they did that. No, they didn't. Come on, man. I tried to replicate it even with the knocks on the fence over here, and she couldn't hear me from where I was knocking. And so, I knocked around the area there for doors and such. She ended up saying it sounded like the deck the most. So I was like, okay, well, that's kind of bizarre. I said, did motion lights pick up? Because they have motion lights up and down. I was everywhere pretty much here. And along the deck, no motion light picked up anything. Camera that they had installed at the time too, that's still there, didn't pick up anything. It usually it would if there was something or someone there that could be detected. So that was the one that was kind of like, okay, that's kind of fucking crazy. That's like, I didn't experience this. So that's cool though. It's very interesting. I didn't have to, whatever, but there was another time. My little dog, she's a mini Aussie, so she's not very high off the ground, about 10 inches at best. So, and at night I have a little disco light on her that changes colors, like kind of fades into different colors. One night, my mom says she sees a little dancing ball of light out by the birdhouse, which is where Trinket, my dog, would be trotting along. It's kind of a little area she sniffs around. It's a ball of red, blue, green bobbing around at that height. She thought it was us until she realized it was 5 a.m. and I wasn't there. I hadn't been there that day. And so she says it's, try to disprove it, saying it's a prism of light that was coming through their front door, because their front door is kind of one of those refracts light and causes but like it's also, there's elevation changes because it goes up another landing, the front door. So it would have to hit at the right angles. And it's just, I did everything, with a car. Even I pulled my car out, tried to do it with headlights, did it with flashlights. I could not replicate that to go all the way up through the outside to the backyard. It's just not possible. It's not how light works, but she's dead set that that's what it is to explain it away. That was one of the weird anomalous events that it's just like, I don't really know what that is. But
so you got a bunch of stuff going on, man.
Yeah,
it's not just one thing.
Well, Claude, it gets better. It gets weird.
Okay.
It's getting now. That's why the smells bothered me so bad.
Yeah.
It's the one thing that we can get to that. So, basically, my mother. It seems to happen to for her husband, he's a Catholic. He's staunchly like, which is not bad. I'm saying like they don't entertain the shit one bit. People like him are like, no, I'm not doing this shit. They don't think it's anything. They just they notice it though. And that's what's weird is it's startled him. The two things that have happened have startled him to where he has said something to her.
Right.
And that was
normally he doesn't react to things like that.
Yeah, and that's what's happened to me. I have been like, what the fuck? Like, it's just like, the next incident I'll tell. So in the back here, like I said, there's 6 acres out in the back. And there's a little skunk last year that would kind of trot around, and he never came over this side. He stayed over on the other yard where that house is vacant right now because the owners, it's kept up, but it's just the owners both passed away.
Right.
They were they were in their 90s. They not in the home. They were in nursing homes at this point. So the home's been vacant for a little bit actually. So I'm looking around in the yard with a green light on my flashlight for the little skunk because I just think it's I don't know. I like wildlife a whole lot. So. And I'm like, and I talked to her a whole lot too. What I'm doing, I said, our little skunk friend, he's gone. And then about that time, I reached the back fence that separates from the yard, all that land back there. I hear a I hear a moaning, drawn out hello, like a hello, like really drawn out. And I fucking shot her. Sorry, I shot around and I was like, "What the hell?" And I see her standing by the birdhouse, that birdhouse where my mom is. So I mean, that's just a little weird synchronicity, I guess. But it proves that she's at that because that's immediately I saw Trinket. And I looked for a minute. I said, "If you have gained the ability to speak, and that's how you wanted to start this off, we're gonna have us a real problem here." But just joking. But like, it was definitely. If you heard it, you would think it was a human voice, just someone that was really just on their last leg. It was just, It sounded like this was just drawn. It was raspy and just almost painful. And again, I couldn't figure anything out. And it gave me goosebumps at the time, but I just whipped around. I said, hell no. I said, I'm going back up the pain. I said, fuck this shit. I ain't doing this. And so I'm not dealing with this right now. I'm not even going to. It is what it is. Fine. So the next one.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
When any of this stuff is going on, do you ever get covered in chills? Like
goosebumps? Goosebumps. That's what just happened. That one. It was visceral. It was a visceral feeling.
When you heard the voice, you're like, okay.
Yeah. Immediately too, because it's one of those fight or flight, and I get them right now actually, because remembering I don't know why but like because it was just visceral. It's like fight or flight almost. Like I was just like, what in the hell? And it's like this reaction that it's ingrained in us, all of us actually. It's very primordial and old. It felt like almost this feeling of just instant like no. But and this is what the timeline shows too. This is ramping up. But also, it's still none of it makes sense. The next thing was where another person comes in, actually, a fourth individual experiencing something. And I made sure to really check this one to make, and make sure it had some validity and ground and legs to stand on. One afternoon, I'm up here and I get a call suddenly. I'm the only one here. No one else is here. I get a call from my mom. Can you check around the property? Are you there or whatever? Can you check around the property if you're there? Your grandma, because my grandmother actually used to live directly across from my position right now. I mean, parallel. Because her health is whatever. So we were trying to keep her close to us, and she ended up moving because she just is how she is.
Yeah.
She says your grandmother saw someone on the property. She says someone's crouching down actually where I usually will park my car over here way out to the way, from their usual where they park since they, here all the time. And it's not like way out of the way. It's just I can see it from here. And there's a pine tree and that's where they keep their trash cans. She says somebody's kneeling down on the other side of that, by the trash cans, the tree. And it's one of those weird things at the angle I'm at. It's very well. If someone was really there, I would not see them because I'm too high up. Like in the way the tree's angled, it's too whatever. So I go outside and I go around the whole house and I'm like, yeah, nobody's here, man. Like, what did she say she saw? What's going on? Because that's when I was like, something's not right. Like that wasn't a person. My mom tells me she says she saw a woman crouched down by over there, looked like she was crouched and then stood. And I was like, okay, and wearing a purple shirt. And come to find out, my mom eventually admits she said she thought it was her because that's why she called her. Not because she didn't call her because she said, oh, there's someone over your place. She said, Karen, my mom's name. she was like, Karen, I need you to come over and get my mail. She did that all the time. She'd always, she would call her. I don't know. It's funny. It's almost like she did it just to piss her off. But like, she would call her if she ever saw her outside. So that's what stems from this, because my mom had to be like, I'm at work. I'm not there. John is the only one that should be there because I just talked to him, you know, or whatever. You know, he would be the only one there because her and her other, whatever. And so, and it wouldn't be me. I'm not crouching my knee. Shit, man. I don't know if I can get back up. But like, and again, there's no trace. I don't know. And so later on, though, I went over and asked my grandmother, because I'd go over and check on her from time to time, spend time with her too. And, you know, just for some company and whatever for her, because, yeah. But I want to get the story, and I wanted to make it I wanted to have her sit on it for a couple hours, make sure that we could get, if what I just heard earlier would match.
Right.
Same story, match everything. And even with her being very reluctant to admit, she goes, I thought it was Karen. I thought it was your mom because she was wearing a purple shirt. Well, my mom she works at a diagnostics x-ray place or whatever, and their shirts are purple with their logo in black, like kind of outline and faded. But she definitely wears a purple shirt almost, you know, all the time. That's what, you know, they're allowed to wear.
So somebody could assume that might have been her bit over there, but it wasn't.
It looked like her, and that's what that's one of these things. It was, and nobody was immediately like, what the hell's going on? Because my grandmother thought it's her, and she's like, can you come get my mail? She's gonna try to get her.
Yeah. If you're outside, come get my mail. Yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna try to wrangle her into something. And then come find out I'm at work. And my mom starts getting freaked. She's like, who the hell's there? Who the hell's there? And I'm like, again, camera though would have caught it. Now it might not have because of the angle, but if somebody, it's just unlikely. I saw nothing, and then a camera that's covering everywhere else that I could have wouldn't see would have picked something up. And the fact that she recounted it, and then the way that it didn't, and the way my grandmother, she gets uncomfortable about this stuff because she's had a few experiences I'll never be able to get hers all the way out of her because I can't. She's told me little bits and things, and she acts like I don't know. I think it just scares her really bad. But like she really thought it was my mother, and like I said, her physical health's failing, but her mind isn't so much because, you know, I definitely got the exact same story, and that's what I was looking for, because if even one thing I had changed a little bit, I'm kind of like, okay, I can't stand by this completely, but it was the same, and it was unnerving because it's like, so I hear this voice now weeks later, whatever, a month later, she sees, it's like these bursts come in like a pattern of weeks. They don't all happen back to back. It's like weeks go by, a month, even a couple months. I mean, you know, so it's just like one of those things. I wrote it down, kept all the notes of everything. Remember, it's an afternoon about 1:30 to 2, clear day. Again, another clear kind of sunny day. You know, so yeah. And
so it's not a foul weather thing when the air gets charged up, and stormy night, and none of that stuff. Yeah.
No, every day so far has actually been pretty mild, and weather-wise, it's been pretty comfortable. Actually, especially, I mean, that's just last week.
It's probably one of the nicest ghost stories you ever heard.
Well,
environment-wise.
Oh, environment-wise, it's
nice day, everything's sunny, everything's great, but there's just weird stuff going on.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, I'm trying to think. They've just had other little things like their cable box in there like won't respond or it'll shut itself off. She's had apps on her TV like switch on and off, and like and she said the last one was a pattern of 3. Like one of the apps she has just kept she turned it off, it come back on, turn it off, come back on. Like it just kept popping up, and it's a new TV. It's not by any means malfunctioning or
what was the app for? I mean, what?
Netflix. I mean, it's just it was just it was weird. It was like, I don't know. I'm trying to think. She said there's a couple little things. My nephew, it's of note, but it's nothing. He was afraid to see a ghost in the back bedroom, and I don't know who taught him that term because he's 4 years old, and I mean he's pretty smart. He said, he does have a bigger vocabulary for someone 4 years old. It makes me mad. So I'm like, where'd you learn?
Has he seen the ghost in the bedroom?
I know, because I asked him. I said, "Well, how do you know what a ghost looks like?" He goes, "I just know," and he's just like. But I was like, I asked him. I said, "Have you seen a ghost?" Because I wasn't even thinking that at the time. Actually, I was just messing with him a little bit. Like, who do you don't know shit about ghosts? Shut up! Like, what are you talking about? But he's always had. He's actually been very
small children are very
Yeah,
sensitive.
you're actually right.
When my
Yeah.
son was born, this was interesting. We lived in a house that my wife's grandmother lived in at one time, and when she died, this was far enough back. They had the wake in the living room. Okay, there was no funeral home in the area, so they had her casket literally set up in the living room, and that's where the wake was held. You know, before she was buried at the Catholic Church.
Yeah, I mean
And
that's
we're
wild.
sitting there one morning, and this had happened, oh Lord, 30, 40 years before. And we had our newborn son. I say newborn. He was probably 6 months old, but he was still in a like a carrier instead of sitting in a high chair. He wasn't big enough to be in a carrier. So we were feeding him breakfast one morning, and we had the carrier on top of the table feeding him, and all of a sudden he looks in the corner of the room and literally follows something across the ceiling to the other side of the room, and then stops and looks back at us. And I looked at my wife, she looked at me, and I said, Aunt Jean? She said, probably, because Aunt Jean had been seen in the house by other people. But to have an infant do this,
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like he was just, staring at the ceiling. And he literally fixed on something and watched it travel across the room to the other side, and then looked back at us. After it went away, he looked back at us like, whatever.
You're
This
absolutely
child,
right. Yeah.
this child is very visionary. He always has been. He's 40 something years old now. Okay. And doesn't admit a lot that he sees, a lot that,
Yeah.
that's happened, but I know good and well that he's seen things from time to time. That's why I say 4-year-old, yeah, they're tuned into everything. So if he says he sees somebody standing in the corner of the bedroom, it's not necessarily an imaginary friend. It could be
No.
something real. But
Yeah.
anyway, sorry.
No, you're fine. My thing is actually, I just mess with him. Me and him go back and forth, even though I'm like 30 years older than him. I mess with him
Right.
because we just have that sense of humor. We're mischievous. So, I mean, he could, I don't think he did. I just, it's bizarre because he's not, it's better now. Because I kind of instilled like a thing, like made Trinket here, his little watch dog, and back that in the bedroom, even though she's terrified of everything. He's not as scared as he used to be, but there would be a point where he wouldn't go in his playroom. He wouldn't go in the back bedrooms at all without grandma. Like she had to go with
Well,
him. And that's,
he probably was seeing something back there then.
I don't know. It's just so, yeah, he went, and he's the type, he won't admit that either. But it's kind of funny because I just realized the other day, like when I had scary stuff as a kid, I would go to my mother too.
Yeah.
Like he does, because I wouldn't go to my father. Hell, he would try to negotiate with the thing to take me with it. He was a mother.
Could you take this young'un with you? Or
Yeah.
threaten to, if you don't behave, I'm gonna let you go with them.
Oh no, he would have just done it even if you were.
Oh,
he was just done. He was just a jerk. But it's just one of those little things to note. And then like one time bed sheets might have gotten pulled off, but again, of her husband. But again, that's
when was this? I mean, was after they were living there?
Yeah. They were living here. Yeah, and this was like kind of towards the beginning of it. That's why I don't kind of fit it in the timeline so much, because I don't know. It could have been like, and she's even said I could tell from the tone. She's like, I might just be being a little bit paranoid after the knocking. So I was like, yeah. I was like, because I'm like, something might have pulled the bed sheets a little bit, but like I don't. Again, that's something we can't. Neither one. She won't stand by. So
did any of this happen before he got there?
Well, they've been married. They've only lived here, like I said, since 2018. They've been married, to 2006. Been together since 2001. So,
but had anything happened in that house before they got there?
Oh, I'm sorry. I think I just answered a totally wrong question.
Oh, that's okay.
Please stop me when it's like, what is he saying? No, because I misheard. Okay. As far as that, a widow lived here by herself. It didn't seem like anything. There's no way to really tell.
How long had she been there?
Oh man. I don't think she's the original owner, but I think she'd been there. What I've heard, I don't know for certain. At least 11 plus years, something like that. I know
Okay.
it was
Did
over 10, so it was definitely over 10, and I remember it's like 11 or 12, something like that for
did she
sure.
move out or did she die?
Oh, she moved out. She moved out.
Okay. So
She
she's still
I can't
kicking
remember
somewhere.
why.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. Nothing weird there.
No
And
deaths in the house, no
no,
history of anything.
her husband did pass, and it's kind of unknown if, but I mean, from what I can tell, he was sick, so I
Yeah.
don't think he died on the property. I think he was
In
in.
a hospital or something.
Yeah,
Or
it's
yeah.
what I can tell. Yeah, from what I
Okay.
can kind of gather, it makes the most sense that way. It wasn't a sudden, I don't think. If,
Right.
but again, that's something I'd have to. I don't even know how to verify because I don't think they know fully. But no, none of that. And that's the thing. Like the first, it's what's weird is it was just, um, like the electronic interference at first for me. Like I didn't immediately think this place something was weird, but I mean, and like I said, I disclose as much as I think is necessary. There's some other things that may have been, but I can't stand by them, and I'm not. I just it could have been.
Right.
I don't have the video anymore. Just a little stupid bobblehead doll that I had, a Christmas one. The Yeti from whatever the hell the Rudolph claymation thing. It bobbed on its own, but I mean I don't know. It could have been vibrate. I don't really know. I mean,
Yeah.
it was like if someone had took their finger and just like that
And
over and over.
it just bogged from yeah.
And I recorded it, but I don't know. I cannot find that video. I've looked on my old laptop. I kind of pissed because I was like, dude, that was pretty cool no matter what. Like it's kind of weird because I don't know. But after the apparition thing, do you see what glitch behind him? You see the glitch? Was there a glitch? It might just be well, I don't know. If there was a glitch behind me.
Well, there was, when you had the audio started going first, and then the
Oh,
video
you talking about
started
the other
going.
night?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, my bad. I thought you meant right now because I was like, dude, I don't want a glitch right now. I'm fine.
Right.
No, you're
Well,
good
you
as far as
were, dude, you
I
were
played it
fine
cool, but I got
before.
very scared for a moment. No.
But what kills me with that was you were walking around your property there, walking around the house. You were
Yeah,
outside. I mean, the audio was perfect. I mean, you couldn't get better than that. I mean, crystal clear.
really?
And you sit down. Oh yeah, hell
Huh.
yeah. And then you sat down, and it's like you're going about your business. Then you start in on telling us about the electronic interference, and then as if on cue, there you go. They shut you down. That's some crazy shit, man.
I'll be honest. Since that event happened, I haven't had anything else occur. But like I said, I was kind of busy doing all that stuff, so I haven't actually looked over my own notes or looked into anything really at all. Prior to that, I had been. And it's nothing. It's just me writing down events and stuff and keeping track of things and just baseline research about decomposition. It's nothing like I'm getting close to like some kind of answer. It's just I did stop after that for since then, and I haven't had any issues. And it's just
Do
like
you
I
know
don't.
the do you know the history of that place before that house was built?
This is an area rich with limestone, and it has potential for karst the way of sinkholes. There's a lot of sinkholes and almost tunnels underneath this thing from erosion
Are you in
under this
Florida?
property. No, Kentucky, Louisville,
Kentucky?
Kentucky.
Wow. I didn't know they had a problem with
Yeah,
sinkholes up there.
yeah. Well, nothing like Florida. Good God, oh no.
Okay. Yeah.
But there are
Houses
areas.
though.
Yeah, we've had small sinkholes.
Okay.
And in Kentucky in general, down in Bowling Green, the Chevrolet or Corvette ship
Yeah, I remember that the
that was a
dealership just
sinkhole.
went
Yeah.
fope. Yeah.
Yep.
That was ugly, man. Like half a dozen Corvettes went down a hole all of a sudden.
Yep. And
Yep.
see out here, funny enough, there's park areas where I had something very, very unnerving happen this year, spring. And they Limestone. They have a trail called Limestone Gorge. They have I've always felt something weird about that place. They have something called Karst Trail. they name a lot of stuff after that, and that's all within what it is, the makeup, the composition
Right.
of underneath, and I don't know. Yeah, what happened in that park? Because it's only 2 miles away from here. I mean, you go right down the road, you can get to it pretty easy. Enter Broad Run.
Yeah.
It's about 3 miles if you go through Broad Run to the park, and then the Turkey Run, which is where that's the park I had this at on the Pawpaw Trail after the fruit. And we were, and this is again, it was the first nice day of spring. It was in the 70s, clear, sunny. Me and James, girlfriend, went hiking there about 1 p.m. And she ended up, we get about halfway through the trail, and she has to go. It's getting to the point where we need to either figure a bypass, cut through on another one, or turn back because she's got to pick up her daughter from school. And so I was like, okay, let me go a little bit ahead. I want to see if this cuts to a different spot. So I probably went about, I went around a bend about 500 to 1,000 feet away from her. We were out of each other's view pretty much because of the bend and, going up that. I'm kind of, I'm just walking, and then suddenly I'm like, well, shit, this doesn't really, we're going to have to turn back. But I start hearing footfalls like a doe, like a deer. And like I said, I like wildlife. So I'm like, oh shit, I can see a deer. Awesome. And I'm looking ahead of me, and how this is like I said, it goes around a bend, and I'm kind of a little bit elevated, and then it slopes gently down and slopes back up to this other side. And it's not thick, with trees. It's not, it's still, like I said, this is back in early March, so nothing's bloomed yet. It's pretty, you can see, I can see straight across. I could. And I keep looking, and I'm like, well, okay, wait a minute. I keep hearing these footfalls, but nothing's there. And it sounds like hooves. It's like a deer.
Yeah.
It's exactly sounds like just a deer. Like it's unmistakable. And so I still don't see something, and I don't see anything. And I'm like, no, this something's not right. And I just keep standing there and I'm staring. But I was like, I kind of started backing up a little bit, and I turned. And when that's the thing. When I turned, it stopped. And so I was like, okay. And I turned back, and it picked up a little bit. And then I turned, and it picked up a little bit. Like it was coming towards me. And so I stood, and I said, no, wait a minute. I stood, and I was like, what is happening? And I'd say about 20 feet, give or take. I hear those footfalls coming at me. There ain't nothing there. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. And I'm like, not glued to the spot, like in fear and fro, but I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't know. I was almost defiant at that point. Like, I'm like, damn it. I thought I was going to see a fucking doe, and you cheated me a little bit, you fucker. Like, what is this? You're fucking with my day.
Right.
And as soon as I'm just standing there, I hear a thwack behind me, like someone dropped a big branch out of a tree or hit a branch almost like on the way, like they threw it from the top of the tree or threw something from down to the ground. It wasn't a knock against the wood, the trunk. It was more like something was thrown down hard from a good elevation in the trees behind me, because it was a thicket of like, I don't know what exactly a tree is, what kind they are, but they're very close together. It makes it kind of look a pine tree kind of look to them.
Yeah.
And I turned swift because it's just one of those reactions. And because you hear a noise like crack or something, and you're like, what the fuck? And again, those footfalls were just the cadence of a deer, definitely a deer, definitely. And it just had kept coming, and then that thwack, and I was like, I don't know. I was like, I want to. I definitely turned around and got out of there then, because I was like, I'm not seeing whatever it is, and nothing's gonna, tell me what it is today. So I kept going, and I didn't say nothing right away. I used to kind of, when something happened, I'd be like, hey, now I'm different. I don't know why. I just kind of like sit on things a little bit. But we're going back, and James turns, she goes, what, something wrong? And I said, yeah, no. I said, I don't know. It's just like, I said, did you hear anything back there at all? Like anything? She said, yeah, I told you there was something off to our side, and you said it was just people. I said, oh yeah. I was like, I wasn't listening to you, actually. I said, I remember that. I was tuning you out because I was thinking something. And because I said, oh yeah, that's just a squirrel. And I remember that. And I was like, I said, what did you hear? And she said, yeah, it's like footfalls. footfalls. I said, oh shit! I said maybe I should listen a little bit better. I guess. But she's like, it sounded like just footfalls, but it stopped, and then we didn't hear it for a bit. She didn't hear it again, and as we're walking out though, I always just stories you hear and all the other stuff. I keep this in mind. The sounds of the forest. I didn't hear nothing. And then it's like another time when I can say it's almost like a bubble because we walk back into this different area and it's like sun's shining kind of like through the trees bright. I don't know. It's weird. We start hearing birds chirping. I said, it's almost like a dead zone for a second. I was like,
that sounds like a Sasquatch encounter.
I mean,
literally.
What would the hooves though? Because these were like delicate.
Is it literally like a hoof? Was it in leaves or on a rock?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I should have said that. It was I totally left that out. It was still leaves, and that's what I was saying. It was like a deer, like when it's grazing gently, just like little the cadence they have, the delicateness, almost like, and not big thundering. It was just very like coming towards you, and it's just like, and that's a terrible representation of a deer, but like it's like deer hooves on leaves, dead dry leaves, and that's what made me so uncomfortable because like I can take something big thundering through there and you can't see it, but it's like, okay, well, this is something other. This sounded as though there was an invisible deer just there, but coming toward me, like knew where I was, coming toward me slowly, carefully, and then that thwack, that something just like almost like someone threw a coconut on, concrete,
right?
It sounded like just a object about that size hitting the ground and from a higher elevation.
It was a squirrel throwing coconuts, and that's
what I thought. I was, that's what I thought, and that's the thing. I was like, the squirrels. I was like, I hope you understand the size difference, and it's going to be bad for you. But no, it's.
I know you've heard a squirrel running up and down a tree.
Oh yeah, I grew up in.
They can be unbelievably noisy, as small as they are.
Oh yeah, I know. I was hiking once, and someone said something. Said, "What is that?" And I said, "Oh yeah, it's a stupid squirrel." Or I said, "He's really loud."
Yeah,
little bastard.
running up and down the side of a tree, and it'll almost sound like footsteps sometimes.
Yeah, it does. It does. Those, and that's not what this. Because I was waiting for that too. I thought that. I said they had that little kind of hop to them. This sounded like 4 legs.
Yeah,
just like moving slowly, like almost like I don't know,
picking up 1 foot at a time,
like a hunter almost. Yeah, right. It was weird. Mm-hmm. And the whack thing, I mean, that could have been something just falling. I don't stand by that completely because it could have just been something falling out of the tree at the same time, and it's just that's how the world is sometimes. What I will stand by is those footfalls. I absolutely heard something coming towards me because it's a clear, again, one of those clear, nice days. I'm alert. It's 1 p.m. I mean, there's just no reason for me to have mistaken it for anything else, especially with the time I spent standing. I mean, because I stood there as not quite 5 minutes, but it was close to it, listening to this thing come closer and closer to me. So I wanted to observe it for as long as possible, and I definitely got,
You got that, huh?
And that's one of those things where people are like, why couldn't you film something? And now I've always thought that too. Until you're there and you are hearing this shit, you aren't going for your damn phone, man. Like you're just like, I gotta get this on. You're like, is there something I don't know what's happening here? Is this gonna be really bad for me actually? Like, cause this is otherworldly type shit I'm experiencing. I don't think like I gotta record. What am I gonna record anyways? Hey guys, here's the thing I'm not seeing, and you cannot see it either. Right.
I mean, can you hear this? Because you can't see
can you hear the noises? I mean, that could be someone behind me doing it. So it's kind of also pointless to have, I'd more rather be in the moment.
Right.
And I haven't gone back yet, but I want to really bad.
I tell you what, people are always giving people hell, about their paranormal experiences. Why didn't you get this? Why didn't you do that?
Yeah.
And unless you're in that experience,
right,
you're not gonna know. I mean, you can armchair quarterback that shit all day,
but it's not gonna get. I mean, you're not gonna prove a point either, though. Really, I mean, because it's just like neither one. I mean, and that's the thing. Like I recorded the weird one of the weird anomalous activity. With one of the there's a kid's chair or something my nephew used to use when he's much smaller. One of those little things they put them in, and they roll around so that they can't like bash themselves up or whatever.
Uh,
Um, it went off by itself. I did record that, but it's like again, like it doesn't prove anything. It was more for my own purposes because I'm like, I'm sitting where I'm at now. It's always where I'm sitting here, I guess. Primarily because I guess I sit here, but it's all the way at the other end here, like, you know, probably about 25 feet away, and I hear it go off, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm like, I go over to it and test it, see if it's vibrations, wind, blah, blah, blah. I step near it, and it goes off again, and it's different tones, though. So it's like, on this thing, there's 3 little buttons, and they all play different tones, and each one of them went off. So that's what was weird to me, and I'm saying, so I did film that. Again, it doesn't prove anything, but it's just more for me to say, there is something weird going on here. I did just and it's like, yeah, if this is just the only thing, then yeah, it could be like, that's nothing. But like after all the other weird shit that keeps going on,
Right.
You gotta spook.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then the fact it's weird, the toys in the house go off too when no one's around them, and they
Right.
are a little bit more. This what's also bizarre. Like my mother is meticulous about turning fucking lights off, don't waste batteries, turn shit off. I don't know why it would have been on. Because I absolutely know she's the one who brought it up here. That was off. That was off. That's like death and taxes.
Yeah.
It's going to be off if she's had any contact with it. So
I think what you've got is a poltergeist.
you know, I thought
Literally.
that too, and I don't understand how it can do this many. Like it just feels like there's no cohesiveness to it except that knocking.
Doesn't
And
have to be.
you're right on that. And you know
Doesn't
what's
have
weird?
to be.
There's too.
The reason I say that, I mean, I've been talking to my angels this whole time, you know, that you've been talking and trying to get some kind of insights from them. And you've got a spiritual entity. I'm going to put it that way. The lady in the purple shirt, it's probably her.
Well, how does she
Where?
replicate? I mean,
Huh?
that's the thing. It replicated. Uh, it,
Could be a
it,
matter of coincidence that it looked like your mother. You know. Uh,
with down, I mean, it's just so crazy down to the shirt and everything, like that purple, like I
yeah.
said, the purple
Well,
work shirt.
I mean,
It's
that
like it was copying her.
could have been for a reason. You know, just to be there and not alarm anybody, or be there and alarm somebody because your mother's not supposed to be there at that time and wasn't, but somebody saw her there. So, you know, it's another little antagonistic thing they do.
That's what
Uh,
it's meant to drive you crazy. That's what I always thought. It's meant to
yeah,
make you lose
yeah. It's
credibility because it's stupid little
just
shit.
not to drive you crazy, but just to keep you slightly off balance. You
Yeah,
know, with the little,
yeah.
like the electronic things going on, flicking switches. Uh, Now the smell, like we were talking about earlier, that's typical of an earthbound soul that is in B, what we call B zone. They haven't released planet Earth. They're hung up here, attached to something, and that's why I was trying to get the history of the house or the land, or you know, looking for some connection to an earthbound soul that will make you miserable. If they think they still own the property you're living on, they will torment you till you leave or you find some way to run them off.
That's the thing. It's weird. It's like
And it
I
doesn't
don't.
have it. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I don't really feel. That's what's weird is I've not been really, I guess, unnerved to a level where I can say I was scared until that sent.
Right,
That's the one
right.
thing that got me. Everything else, even the hello, I'm just like, well, okay.
Well, the I think the term poltergeist in German means playful ghost, and that's what they are. They're playful. They'll little mischievous, kind of like an elf, you know, pulling little pranks and just doing a little goofy stuff just to see if they can get your attention. I don't think it's anything harmful to it.
Right.
It hasn't tried to harm anyone. So, you know, I mean, what you might do is just call them out and say, look, cut it out. I'm tired of this shit. You know, I live here and you're disrupting everything. So please go. And if they find out that you really don't want them there, they may just leave. and it may be the end of it. You know, it may be just as simple as that. Just put your foot down and say, no more. I've had enough. Just go. You know, smudge. If you know how to smudge the
I,
place. You know,
I have told it to go, and
smudging
it
helps.
it did for a while.
Some cedar wood, some sage. Cedar wood's usually best for
Yeah, cedar.
something
Yeah,
like that. Oh, sage
sage
is
is pretty
good
good.
for just a good spiritual cleansing,
Yeah,
which it probably need. You know, might need. Oh, I
that's
was involved with a one in when I was still doing all the body repair. Guy came to work one day and he looked like death warmed over. I'm like, dude, you partied too hard last night? No, man, I ain't slept in 3 days. What's the matter? Got a ghost in my house. Really? Oh yeah. He says he's bad. He knocks stuff off the pictures off the wall. It just torments me when I'm there. He said he don't do anything to the wife, but when I'm there, he's just determined to run me off, I guess. I said, well, you need some help with that? He said, man, anything I could get. I said, okay. I said, I don't want to know where you live, but I gave him a quarter and I put my energy into that quarter. I said, take this quarter, lay it on your coffee table in your living room. I said, that's where he does most of his cutting up. Oh, yeah. Put this on that table in the living room and I'll be by in a couple of days, see what I can do. You coming over? I said, not physically. I'll be there spiritually. You won't even know I've been there and been gone. Okay. So I lived on the river in a camp that was 120 years old. It had more ghosts around it than the Myrtles, I think. Oh, but I set up with my angels, and I actually set it up on a Thursday night. And this happened Monday when I talked to him. And I was supposed to be set up on a Thursday night to go in and take care of this. With my angels, a team of Astral Soul angels that I work with on occasion when I do a little extra backing. And come Tuesday night, Wednesday night, whenever it was, I got curious and I went there unprepared. Didn't take this team of extra angels with me, just went out on my own and met this old boy face to face, and he was pissed. What are you doing in my house? I said, whoa, dude. This ain't your house anymore. What do you mean it ain't mine? I'll tell you what, you get out, you know. And he started towards me. I'm like, okay, I'm gone. Went back to my camp, and the perimeter around the camp was sealed spiritually, energetically, to protect me. And I went through that barrier back to my body. I'm like, okay, whew, cleanse, get rid of this, okay, and go back in Thursday night. Well, when I got ready to leave for work that next morning, I had my a chain across my driveway hooked to a post that had a gate nailed to it, old farm gate, nailed to that post and nailed to a tree just as a barrier on the driveway. When I unhooked the chain, the post fell over. And this is a telephone pole. Okay. This ain't no little gate post. This is a 10-inch telephone pole set as a gate post. And it just fell over and it had been sheared off at the ground like you took a knife and cut it. Okay. There was no sawdust. Nobody had taken a chainsaw to it. It was just sheared off clean. And I locked the gate, the chain on that post when I went in the night before. Well, I'm looking for tire tracks in the driveway and marks on the chain, and there was nothing. Nobody had been there. You know, a lot of kids used to play possum out there. Oh, I think it's called possum with CB radios. They go hide out and try to find each other, you know, okay. And they used to do that in the end of that driveway. And I figured one of them comes sliding in, not paying attention, hit the chain, broke the post, you know. Didn't find any evidence on the chain and the gravel, nothing. Whatever, I'm going to work. So I put the chain back around the post, left it that way. It held the post up. Went to work, came in that evening and got a post hole digger and some tools and Went back out there and offset where the post was, dug another hole, reset the post, tamped it in, nailed the gate back to it, put chain back on it. Now, like, whatever, not a big deal. Of course, it's hard clay ground, so post hole digger and white clay, it is not a good combination. But anyway, got it done. And Thursday night, all right, called in my team of angels. I said, let's go do battle. And went back to that house and met him face to face again. Oh, you back? I said, yeah, and I brought reinforcements. I don't care what you brought, you know. I said, well, it's your turn to leave. You don't belong here. I built this house. This is my damn, and he just went ballistic again. And I, you know, of course, he couldn't get to me. I was covered. And he's screaming and yelling. I'm like, hey, calm down, calm down. Don't tell me what to do. Just give me a minute, okay? I said, do me a favor, clap your hands. He's like, what? Clap your hands. Well, you know, he did it spiritually. I said, did you hear anything? No. I said, because you don't have a body. And he just went blank for a second. I said, you didn't know you were dead, did you? No, man, when did that happen? I said, I don't know. That's none of my business. But you're dead. These people living in this house own this house. They bought it legitimately. Where they bought it, whether it's from your wife after you died or what, but it's their house. He said, well, I was wondering what all this new furniture was doing in here. And what the heck happened to my wife? Because I ain't seen her. You know, there's a woman here that ain't my wife and a man that I don't want. I said, it's his house. You got to go. All right. And I told him what he needed to do to leave. And as he's starting to leave, he stopped and looked back. He said, sorry about your gatepost. I said, it's okay. Now, the night he came, the night that he ran me out of that house, he followed me home. But that gate was a spiritual boundary he couldn't cross. But he hit it hard enough to shear that gatepost off. Now, tell me they can't do things they want to? Better think twice on that one. So the little things that you're having around there, minuscule. That's not a dangerous spirit you have around there. It's playful. Now the odor that you smelled, that you talked about last time you were on, earthbound souls that are still trying to hang on to something they left here, a person, a house, a piece of land, a favorite piece of furniture, they'll have an odor to them. They'll have a musky odor. Sometimes it's a sweet musky odor. It changes with the individual and the circumstances. But I think that the fact that you're the only one that smelled it, and it didn't smell it very long, it was just a couple of minutes from what you told me. I think that's what you've got. You've got an earthbound soul that is attached to something there. The house that was there before the one that you're living in, or Lord knows, you may never find out what they're attached to. But I think that's what's going on. You got an earthbound soul that's more of a poltergeist than anything. They're playful. They want somebody to know that they're there, which most people don't know they're there because they can't see them.
Hey, Buck,
Yes.
what's your gut telling you when you have when you're having these experiences in there? What's your gut telling you?
It can go two ways because there's validity to two. I think, and I don't like this because I think it gives too much power to myself, maybe somebody else, a human. It's not the house to me. It's not the house. I don't know if it's even, I think it's the land.
I believe so too.
Something to it with the land, and I don't know what exactly. I haven't looked at the history because I haven't gotten to that yet. Of the land of this area, but it being what it is with limestone. That is something I feel like.
That
There can be some
limestone
negative energy though here.
limestone has a high resonance to it.
Yeah.
It things can feed off the energy in limestone, or limestone can produce its own weird effects on some occasions,
They fried it up here on the stuff. Yeah.
because of the crystalline form. It's got a certain amount of quartz crystal in it, so it's
Exactly.
highly energetic.
So what I'm believing, what you from what you've told me, it's all tied to the land, like you say it is.
Yeah.
And
Um,
maybe I think, and this might be even some bias playing out. Really, I don't want it to be, but uh, this the feeling I get, the things that have happened. I have had other bizarre things happen. I've seen a bowling ball size electric blue ball at 4 a.m. 17 years ago. I had a haunting then. That felt like a haunting. That felt like something bound to that house
Right.
because you'd feel chased, you'd feel watched, you felt unwelcome.
Not the same place you live in now.
No, no, no. This is in a totally
Okay.
different part of the
Okay.
city. This is
Yeah.
about, oh God, this is a good distance away from that area, even though there
What
was some weirdness there that did
what part of
correlate.
Kentucky do you live in?
Louisville, the city of Louisville,
Okay.
uh, about 2 hours away from Cincinnati. It's towards
Right.
about an hour from Lexington is about where we are. It's further towards Ohio than any part of Kentucky,
But
really,
between the
or Indiana.
removal between the removal of Native Americans and the Civil War, Lord knows what you've got going on there.
Well, the turmoil in this city's enough.
Yeah. And
Our city's
and
not.
that being absorbed by the limestone, and you know I don't think you've got anything to be afraid of or worried about. It's more of an irritation, and like I say, just politely suggest it. We don't want you here. Sorry you don't have any place else to be, but we live here and we would like to do it peacefully. Could you please go find somebody else to irritate? You know, just be blunt about it. And it may be the end of it. I say do a good cedar smudging.
Yeah, we
Call them out.
see. This is I have like I said, I have a few theories on what it could be. I mean, I don't know if it is the manifestation of negativity. There is some with certain things in our dynamic within our family. It's always been there though. It's not
Yeah.
anything new. There's negativity. Just there is negativity that can feed on.
Well,
Or not even that, but we can manifest if
yeah.
that's a theory you want to put out there, which I've thought about. It almost does feel like it follows that sometimes, like a negative event. It seems it's the last 2 times it has happened after a negative event.
Well, like attracts like, okay? If you're
Yeah,
positive, you attract positive. If you're negative, you attract negative.
and that's the thing. It's weird. It's not. It just seems to happen after that, and it's like a
Yeah.
one. It's not. That's the thing. It's never really. Yes, it was Clayton, and you're correct. Sorry, I saw something in chat. Very correct. Um, that's the thing. These events, the haunting I felt that 17 years ago scared me. It scared me. It was my first real, I guess, adult taste of something.
Yeah.
It opened up my just curiosity, and I've consumed everything since. I was almost obsessive about it to figure it out. I still not so much now because I don't it doesn't bother me as much as this one especially hasn't. It's the smell, and it's that's what really kind of even changed my. I don't have a theory at the moment that I was not 100% behind. I was behind a big one though about possible just what Max was talking about a minute ago, the spooky action like quantum mechanics and quantum entanglement about how in our perception of time in a universe because these events are all. That's the one thing I thought until Sunday was it's bizarre because my mom absolutely would crouch down over there to do yard work or something. Trinket absolutely with that little ball around her. It cascades through those colors, and she goes around that area.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that seemed like it would be these. That's what's weird is all these things everybody thought, oh, it's this, it's that, it's just a regular event, and it's
Right.
almost like it's blips or bursts of something coming through that's either, and it doesn't feel like it's a past event, it doesn't feel it doesn't seem to have a label, it just seems to be an
It
event that's
it's
being almost copied or
yeah.
foreshadowed, but they're
It
so benign.
it's a reflection of what's going on, basically, or reprint, if you will. Recreation to an extent. Like you said, the dog with the multicolored ball, and mom seeing the lights out in the yard and all that. Oh, don't know. I mean, if the events of your days are being recorded in that limestone and pushed back out against in some twisted form, maybe a number of different things going on right there.
Let me ask you something, Buck. You know
Mm-hmm.
that moment when your grandmother saw your mom out there,
That yeah, that
at,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, that apparition. Could it be possible that at some point in time your mom did actually go out there
Yeah, oh yeah, that's
wearing
what I mean. Yeah,
the exact clothes, but it's like
yeah,
it's a recording.
yeah. That's what I was. Yeah, that's that purple. That's what I'm saying. She wears that all the time for work.
Right.
She's worn. I've seen her. I mean, it absolutely. The way she. That's what I'm saying. She didn't describe like, oh, there's someone over there. She called my mom because she's gonna have her probably do something for her.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the same as a knocking. Oh, I gotta let somebody in. It's like, well, on the way there. The only things that have struck me, I guess, is just bizarre was the knocks that they heard mostly because her husband heard them, and he's the one who got startled by them. And see, something popped and cracked in their ceiling. Uh, I think about through 2 weeks ago, and I wasn't here on the property. This is at night through the week, and he got startled. She said he popped up and he said, "What the?" He doesn't get startled hardly ever because she makes fun of him all the time. Like he's just like he is just non-react. She's like he could care less if I was screaming for help. Like he would just be like, "Oh, whatever's on." He's just kind of whatever like that. But for him to kind of be like, "What was?" He's looking at her like, "What just happened? What was it? Something fall through the ceiling?" And because I said, "Well, what did it sound like?" She said, "It sounded like a real pop, like she just a real loud pop, like almost." And over their dining room, and there's nothing above that area that would fall. I mean, it's weird little things like that it startles people just because they think something else is going on. If anything, it's almost like not trying to bring attention to itself while doing something. It's like a kid that's like being an idiot, basically. Like, oh, I didn't do that, and it's like, well, nobody said you did. Nobody gives a shit if you did. Actually, like you didn't do nothing. Actually, you just shit. You made something pop. Like get out of here. Piss off. It's just annoying. It's like you're not doing shit that I'm impressed by. And that's the
Right.
thing about it. I'm not scared of this shit. I'm not impressed by it. Do something that's impressive. If all you can do is make something smell like rotting flesh for a bit, guess what? I'll go down, drive out a damn Gene Snyder where somebody busted a deer's head open with their car, and this
Be
shit is.
careful what you wish for.
I'm not even.
Hey,
I mean,
Jamie.
I'm not wishing for it. I don't give a. I feel like I'm not afraid, and if shit does, I've been afraid of shit before. This don't. I mean, again, it's like if it makes the ceiling pop and crack, if it knocks on things, if it makes something smell like absolute death for a moment, you're gonna get a reaction out of me, but it's not gonna linger too much. It's more I'm like, what could cause that? And it's more my scientific mind. What can cause that? And if I can't find a reason, then bingo, that's weird. And there's something here, and maybe I should start setting up some kind of recording devices or ways to detect. Um, I mean, again, the technology. I wish I could detect vibrations through, vibrational, more so like any anomalies that way through even frequencies. Again, this feels. My theory goes into a lot of stuff about overlapping existence that's it's the holographic universe theory a little bit about everything is stored on a 2D, kind of flat plane somewhere, and we're all projections. Well, what if somebody knocks the fucking bookcase loose? The projections fall all over the place, whoopity doo, and then the projections are bashing each other, so like they're overlapping, and it comes in. I don't know how to put it. It's not the best. I'm not a I'm not a physicist fully, but what I've seen and what I've done, looked into, I guess that's my approach. I try to say what, because it just feels like there's even with the apps, because I watched the other day, it's something so dumb like the Netflix thing, but I sat and watched my niece, who just it's always into something, hit that same button that she was talking about that pulled up the app, and she just kept doing it, and it was like it popped up several times. I'm just like, it's so dumb. And yes, maybe I'm getting out there and I'm crazy, but like, what the hell? If everything else looks like it's being a repeated event or a copy somehow, like almost like micro feed, whatever if I'm thinking of the right thing, where it's like an imprint is put, and then that imprint is just kind of drifts off for a bit. But what if there's some kind of disruption that's occurred, a misalignment of whatever you want to call it, where those things pass back through, and it's not a direct copy of the event. It's kind of like an outline, it's a tracing. So it comes to you in this form where you're like, oh shit, that's a ghost, or oh shit, that's a this, or it's like, oh, I heard something, and just like I'm doing, and so you're not getting the full representation. You're getting a almost flashback, or like it's just a drifting little thing, and whatever, and it keeps happening. And I think that's a fun theory, because it's like, if that's happening with us, maybe we're being projected onto something else and scaring the absolute shit out of another existence, and that would be just fun. Because, like I said the other night, oh look, there's a guy, look at the fat guy in the Cabela's hat again. Oh god, what are you gonna do again? Complain about his fucking thing? He sure hates those bugs, doesn't he? And so, I mean, that's a dream of mine, but I don't know if it's happening. It's just something.
Well, Buck, that's something we talked about the other night. Remember? I mean, we're talking about the convergence of two parallel dimensions overlapping.
Yes. Yeah, radio, like I said, it's like a disc, a radio disc. And that's probably why Jane turned her camera. She's like, I don't want to hear this theory again. And I'm like, you're gonna listen, you're gonna like it. No,
So what does I kind of exactly. It's like you listen to your favorite radio station. We described this before, and when you're going down the road, you're running out of its radio range, and all of a sudden, there's another radio station that's got the same frequency, and all of a sudden they overlap, and you've got two different people talking at the same time, and it's all bleeding in. Yeah, that's right. So what I'm seeing is, and Max with his quantum entanglement theory, and that's I'm right there with you.
That plays in there, because that's the thing. That's kind of part of it, and it's like it's a thing that, like, again, I mentioned this the other about Einstein, him writing those two papers, them being written as separate entities, but now they think are connected, even though he didn't mean them to be. It's like that. It's almost 100 years later, and we just now discovered it, and that's just so weird. Or not just discovered, but it's like a theory that's popped up in the last, however long. I'm not sure. It's still though was not the original intent. Very cool, because it's like, are there two things that exist in separate places yet somehow still affect the other? How do they do that though? What connects them? That would be where you get into wormholes and a little bit more complicated shit that I can't do the math equations. So
My biggest concern is what's causing this fluctuation. If this is exactly what it is, and honey, don't get up here. If this is what is going on, what is causing this fluctuation? And I still do believe it's tied to the ground or the land.
Yes.
All that limestone, and
this house, it's just,
James, there's tributaries. What do you think, Jamie?
I think she cast something onto it and haunted me. That's fine. Yeah, I may have accused you of some things.
I can't hear you. Can anybody?
Oh, we can't. Hey, can't hear. No, we can't. We can't hear you.
It says you're unmuted, but
I can't hear you either.
Might be the earbuds. Not like the dog though.
or you might have to get into settings and play with the mic volume.
Yeah, you might have to play. You might have to enable your mic or whatever, like you did that one time, or through your phone or whatever. Okay, but yeah, I mean, Max is. Yeah, it's like these things that play, and it's like it's something that's what dawned on me the other day because I made a video, a walkthrough of the property, and it's way too long, and I just was like, this is insane. But I guess it's more for me to talk out loud for myself too. I may put up or not if anybody wants to hear just me rambling about insanity like this. That's great because I go through the whole property, house, and outside and everything, show all the locations. It was during the day so that you could clearly see. But my point being is, at the very end, I kind of started realizing or thinking for a moment, and it's because again, I have felt what a haunting is, and it's my uncle has felt it too. We have agreed. We kind of come to the same conclusion. It's fucking terrifying, and you really don't want to feel that. Because it is scary. This feels different in a way I don't understand, and it's daunting in that way. It feels not threatening. I feel small, I guess is the best way to put it. I don't feel like I can comprehend this almost. Like I don't think I'm there. I don't think I ever will, and I don't know if anybody can.
You're not in control of the situation, and that can be unnerving.
Yes. That's a good way of putting it, Claude. Yes. That's kind of how it. Yeah, that's what it made me kind of feel. It's just like it's not. It's just more like I'm almost halfway. Again, I don't feel. I almost am sometimes just like something gonna happen. Kind of want to see what this thing has because I don't think it's outright trying to terrify by any means. I don't think it's that. I don't think it has that intent.
No.
I feel like though it has bolstered the way that it presents itself. It started off small and almost like chaotic, like it couldn't manifest correctly or it didn't understand how to, like it was on the wrong channel almost, kind of like what Lee
could have been.
And then it like finally kind of tuned in and it said, now I can do a little bit more.
Yeah, watch this. Yeah.
Jamie, you back? Your phone. Try your phone. No. Yeah, her laptop, I've had to fix it before, and I guess I don't know what happened, it might have reset, because it did that before. Nall Pyromedic, I think wouldn't it be nice if she lost her voice, but no. Couldn't yell at me as much.
That was wrong.
I think she's getting on her phone, so she would have dropped out.
No, this is...
Because she's been to the property, and I don't know how she feels fully. She's said that it felt weird, but I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you right now, the common denominator between 17 years, there is one. And it's my mother's husband.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Each time
it's my laptop, then. Sorry about that.
Each time it's happened, it was remodeling is what kicked it off. And he was the one that did the remodeling. And so I'm like, it's almost like a Mr. Magoo situation. I'm like, stop changing shit. You're getting us haunted.
That's a very common thing in the paranormal is that, when there's remodeling, any kind of disruption in what is considered, I guess, the quote unquote norm, it kicks up, any kind of spiritual, paranormal, whatever activity. It's a kind of a pretty commonly known thing. And before I realized my microphone wasn't working a minute ago, y'all had asked me kind of what I think. I've been there. I've actually had experience with the area previous to this years ago. Some of my best friends in high school actually live a little bit further out from
5 miles.
Huh? What'd you say?
5 miles. I mapped it. It's 5 miles.
Well, yeah, a few miles out from where he is, and it's a very creepy area. It's a family of 5 kids, and I was friends. There's 4 girls and a boy. I was friends with a couple of the daughters, and the oldest wouldn't ever go. She would never stay on the property alone, never at night. Just kind of would hear tales of feelings of being watched, lots of weird animal things. It's a rural kind of.
Wait a minute, weird.
Huh?
Weird animal things. Did you ever
I mean, not super weird, just,
Okay.
the things we've already discussed.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Okay. I got you.
Just like an inordinate amount of deer. My one friend Tara would hit a deer at least once a year, if not more. I've lived not very far. I grew up not very far from there at all, just probably 5 miles the other way. And, knock on wood, have never ever had that happen. But up on this hill, in this particular area, they have. There's been owls that just appear. They fly into vehicles and won't leave. Trying to think of some of the other things. They did have some cattle out there at one point, long time ago, and I do remember they got ill. And that's something one of the other friends told me the other day. They got ill and they had to end up, basically euthanizing. And I don't even know if they ever figured out what happened to the cattle out that way. So just like little occurrences like that, and there's some anecdotal tales. And then, when Buck moved into the area, I guess it was 4 or 5 years ago.
No, 4. Sorry, yeah, it's been 2018.
I remember very distinctly. I remember he contacted me and said, something's not right about this place. I get a weird feeling. I remember very distinctly, and you said something about the color of the walls and things, and you're like, I would like you to come check this place out, see, whatever. I just remember the first thing you said was something just felt weird or off about the space. And, it's kind of like, I know I'm kind of late joining, but, from what I know of the situation, what I kind of heard coming in, yes, it is correct. It has kind of been on a slow inclination basically since, and it ebbs and flows. There's periods of more activity and less. I've had my sister.
Since I've been on property more.
Huh? What'd you say?
It picked up when I started being on property more.
Well, that's what I was getting ready to say. One of my theories about this is, is it the land? Mm-hmm. But is it maybe the land interacting with something else that might be attached? I don't know. I think just from other experiences and things that that we discussed previously, that it's in the realm of possibility. But there is definitely something about that area. Seatonville Road, I think it's called.
Where did you know what? Oh shit! Where did we? November 2019.
That was on Billtown.
Yeah, well.
And see, I grew up right by there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a weird area. There's a very specific line of almost demarcation where you go from where it feels okay and normal and well populated and kind of just like a neighborhood to
Looney Town.
Yeah, it's a crazy town. And it's literally right at that weird line that I remember passing by as a child on the way to church back in the day when my parents would drag me, where we kind of started smelling weird things and encountering weird stuff. And a lot of the experiences have been, in that area.
Something else to keep in mind, the more you talk about something or the more you think about it, the more energy you feed to it.
Absolutely. You almost manifest it. I'm teaching a class on manifestation tomorrow, and that's one of the talking points is good or bad. You can speak something into existence. You can give something more energy. You can give something more attention. And, some of these things thrive on it. They love fear. They love chaos. They love the fact that this is causing discourse some way or another, and they feed on it. The more fear you feed it, the more they're going to fuck with you.
Yep.
Because that's the thing. That's what I mean. It doesn't feel threatening. It doesn't feel. I mean, I've been unnerved by the scent just as much as I was that time in November, because it could be a myriad of things, and I don't like what it could be. I mean, even that, like I said, that moaning hello. It's just like, I turn around and I'm like, Trinket, if this is where you decided to talk, you have bought your ass up. You bought yourself up. I don't know. You're in the doghouse. I don't know. I can't think of anything else, but but that's the only thing that was behind me. It's like she's at the birdhouse, just again, shit, didn't react. That's weird. She is terrified of being outside at night, and she was just actually sitting by the birdhouse, just sitting there. That's why I was for real like, what? So like, I mean, it was kind of weird, but it's like she didn't react in a bad way. It's just kind of like almost like she was more. It was like, I'm not afraid of the dark anymore, and it's like, get inside, like
Like this is not the time to not be.
yeah.
Well, they get to a point where if you don't react, they're going to do something stronger just to get a
Yeah, I
reaction.
mean, yeah.
And like the whispering in your ear, that'll get anybody's attention.
Well, that's the thing. Let me, for reference, I'll give reference in because I realized I didn't. It happened about, I want to say 50 to 60 feet behind me. It didn't feel like it was right in my ear. It felt like that's what I mean. That's why I'm joking about the little dog, is because it felt like it came from exactly where she was at, like by the birdhouse. And I'm like, that's why I turned around like, what?
Well, still, a voice will get your attention quicker than a light switch going on by itself.
Yeah.
A light switch could be an accidental mechanical thing.
Absolutely.
But a voice is not an accidental mechanical thing.
No.
So yeah, if this entity was trying to get your attention because you'd pretty much gotten to where you ignored all of this, that's what it achieved. It got your attention.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like you would feel it would go after my mother then, because she's the one who's like light refracted through the swamp gas type bullshit.
Right.
And more me, I'm like, holy shit, this is cool. Like, let's see what else happens. And nothing happened. Like, no. So like, it's more.
What was that?
I don't know.
I heard it.
Yeah, I did too.
I absolutely heard that.
I don't know.
It was a knocking.
No, it sounded like somebody accidental discharged into their husband finally. There's gunshots out this way more than there needs to be. Rural ones. I mean, hell, somebody actually ended up shooting a coyote. Coyotes are out this way, so I mean, actually, yeah, somebody. It's not. That's the thing. It's not like it's not densely populated at all through here. So there's a lot of. There's an abandoned golf course, for God's sake, that actually is a coyote den. So somebody might have actually been shooting one of them, getting too close to their pets or something. Or I mean, they could have been shooting, or it could have been a backfire on a bike.
It could have been a lot of things.
Yep.
Yeah. We've gotten used to it. She didn't even. Oh no! Well, actually, that scared her. And she is now terrified.
But I've been on property. I've been in the home, and really the only place I have ever felt real discomfort and unease, it's never been upstairs. It's always been on the lower level. Always. There's this back door, glass door thing, and you feel like if you ever look up through it, somebody's just standing there just staring at you.
You did not. I said the same shit, didn't I?
Oh, did you?
Yep.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah,
that's what I was talking about, that basement where I said there's a door that like it's there and you're just like, I don't like this.
I don't. Yeah.
And that's where the laundry room's at, where I heard the knocking. It's on the other side of that.
It's very uncomfortable. I felt it there, and then I've also felt some unease at night where you are right now.
I mean, I don't feel uneasy here at all. Actually, it's mine.
No, me personally, those are, but it's more that lower.
I understand.
Back, that lower level looking out into the back is just not.
Hell no, I don't like that shit. That's where I found that. Holy shit!
What's up?
Whoa, that is something else I forgot about. Josie, the little JoJo, the little kitten. Right before she came, dude. Remember that fucking rabbit that got tore all the shit right in that spot she was found?
Did you?
Something killed a fucking rabbit. Just tore the hell out of it. Didn't eat it. Just killed it. Just killed it for sport. And shit, about a week or so later is when she showed up actually, but she didn't do it. She fucking that big. I remember I grabbed that little thing. She's sweet. It's not her. That's what's weird is she missed something. Just rampaging. And that rabbit was way bigger than her actually. It's a big one.
I mean, she was like a little 4 or 5 week old kitten.
Yeah, and it's so weird that she shows up like a week after something just like that vicious, and because that blood.
Rare breed.
Melanistic. Melanistic Bengal cat.
Kind of almost exactly what was.
Ghost stripes. It is exactly what my mom wanted. She said she wouldn't take one unless it showed up at her doorstep.
And she wanted a black one.
And it showed up at her goddamn doorstep, and then I just happened to be over there that afternoon, and I didn't even plan to be, and I had to get it because they're over doing trying to chase it. Like I'm like, stop chasing the kitten. Like
that's another thing that kind of lends a little bit of validity to the whole situation for me is, I try to be as impartial as I can, but, having been a medium my whole life and a professional one for over 2 decades, I can kind of get a little, how it, kind of feel like, am I crazy, or is this just how, am I just so accustomed to this or whatever? But when you have people who are not constantly researching, talking about, dealing with the paranormal, the spiritual, the metaphysical, that are unsettled, uncomfy, they bring up stuff, they hear things, they have experiences, that's, what gets my attention. That's what kind of, lends that credibility. And to know the two people that Buck has spoken of and how they are, you would kind of understand where I'm coming from, that these two people who just would never probably believe in this kind of stuff are rattled by this is really
Yeah.
saying
That's when you know there's something going on.
something's real. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I said, I know I can get a little woo woo, a little crazy, but yeah, it's
We get
definitely
we get woo woo crazy right here all the time. It's okay.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, my theories on the shit's crazy. I mean, that's the thing. I guess I just have a lack of preservation too for myself. Like, I mean, I consider it very cool to see this kind of stuff. I consider it almost an honor to be able to see something that other people can't, even if it does scare you or make you uneasy. It still gives a little bit of life to the world somehow. It makes me feel a little bit more like something. Man, this is fucking neat. It's not this just mundane bullshit like we've been doing this whole time.
There is more to it than what we just see and feel and experience, on the ordinary level. Yeah.
Yeah, the three dimensions.
Absolutely.
And I just feel like this is some kind of, and it's weird. I'll just say how I feel like this is some kind of element versus an entity. Like it belongs, but it maybe, I don't know how to put it other than that, but it feels big.
It's more of a, I agree. It's more.
But then what explains that?
It's there's definitely areas and places and stuff that whatever, but it's just such a weird, broad area that's still kind of rural, but kind of it
belongs to the earth still, and they're taking it.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what kind of happening.
Taking every bit of it.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Going back to the kind of remodeling, construction, all that stuff. This is an area that is being very quickly and very heavily developed. Like I, was just out there earlier and I just happened to look over and there's 2 more brand new shopping centers coming up. And, like it's just,
and there's a lot of negativity swirling around that. People are pissed.
Yeah.
But they can't stop
pushing
it.
out something. It's rattling the cage of something, so to speak. So
that's what I'm saying. I don't feel threatened by it. It feels, I don't know that it even, like I said, yeah, that scent it did the same thing November 19 though too. It feels wrong because I know in the biological sense what decomposition is, what putrefaction. I understand it fully. I grew up in the woods. Why is it suddenly here? Why is my dog not reacting? And why is it 2 feet? It's not there.
Are you talking about November or the most recent?
The most recent. But November is the same way. November went away too.
Yeah, November went away, and like we discussed in the previous discussion of this last time, roadkill has a very distinctive smell. Here in Kentucky, you smell it pretty regular in the summer. It's you get used to the smell, and it lingers. It takes days to decay. This was there 1 minute and 45 minutes later, it was not.
Yeah. But the skunk was. The skunk was,
yeah. Defensive skunk. So what was, I my thought still with that was, the skunk sprayed. They spray in defense. What was happening? What was going on at that time that it felt threatened, and then that smell disappeared. What was that chain of events? But I don't know. And then, like, again, there's something with the deer. I've not quite been able to put it together myself yet, but in the November 2019 experience, yeah, and again, Kentucky, there's deer, there's going to be, but just the amount, just driving through these areas, these parklands areas, I mean, just like groups of 10, 15 deer at a time, like every few hundred feet, like a lot of them. And then, like I said, my friends that lived up on the hill would hit 1 to 2 deer a year, like with their vehicles. And, just something's up with that. And I'm not
That's
sure
the
what the
thing. That's
correlation
it.
is.
Going to when you feel threatened. Talking about that incident in March of this year at the Parklands Turkey Run, that felt threatening. That felt malicious. That felt bad. That did not feel good.
It
That made
felt taunting.
well, yeah. If you had been where I was at, man, that would you remember
Yeah,
I went around the bend.
I felt a little something. I wasn't quite where you were. I was a little bit back,
That
and
was threat.
that there was something off. And I kept hearing, it was almost like something that was what was weird to me. It was like something was trying to draw my attention away from where it was trying to draw your attention. So I kept hearing and like seeing things like across. So we were kind of to explain. There was like a kind of up on a small incline, like hiking up a hill, and then there's like a little bit of a valley at below, a little creek. I had to cross over, and then over on the other side, it was the other side of this trail. So I kept being my attention was pulled across the water, across this path over the other side, like back and down, where everything else is going on up this way with Buck over here. And it was almost like something was like, let me just kind of isolate Buck and fuck with him or whatever, and make it's like my attention was being deliberately drawn away.
And Trinket didn't come with me, and she
Yeah, wouldn't
always.
she? What she all? I mean, if to know this, yeah, this dog does not stray very far, and yeah, she would not budge. So
Yeah, she always comes after me. Always, like God. And that's the first time and I didn't think none of it until after the event, because like I said, I thought it was like, oh, I'm going to see a deer because I like wildlife.
no, 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 no,
And
no, no. You didn't say, "Oh, it must be a deer." You said
what?
that first, but then we went back.
We went back.
You kind of walked back down, and then you walked back up a little bit to find out what it was, because you're like something was just right there, and you were trying to figure out what it was.
I didn't go back all the way.
You didn't go back all the way, but you kind of turned towards me and then turned back.
Yeah, because I was getting, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, because I stood there for a while watching. No, it was. Remember, I said it sounded like little. It was like the leg was just like the size of a deer. It was like the same cadence where they're just grazing. It's like, like that delicate kind of thing. That's what I think it sounded exactly like. And I stood there for a long time, and then I came back, about 4 minutes, almost 5 minutes, and then I came back down, and then I said, "Yeah, I want to find out what that is," but I stopped too. I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't go all the way back. I didn't even go back to the spot at all, actually.
And the
I
thing is,
went up.
this would have been easily debunked or explained away had it been, middle of June, full tree cover and thick brush and stuff. But this was March. Their trees were bare. You could see straight on through. It was a clear shot. So if there was something there, it would have been spotted. You would have seen it. It would have been noticeable. And especially, like you said, the size. It was nothing that could just easily hide. Um,
You didn't hear that. You didn't hear that loud thwack, like the thwack at the end.
like
Like it sounded like somebody's throwing a way I put it. Somebody's throwing a coconut and busting it on the concrete from like 20 feet up or something. Like somebody threw it as hard as they could to bust it on purpose, like just to be mischievous. Like, I mean, that's what it sounded like. It's like somebody threw something out of the top of one of those, those thick trees on the side. You know how they all come together and shit. I don't know what they are, like pine trees or some shit. They get the needles, and they all come thick. That's where I heard that from. In that one spot way up there, and it sounded like somebody threw something straight out of a tree, like straight down though as hard as they could, like a stick or I don't know. It just sounded like a cracking noise, like wood of some type. Like I don't know, a coconut maybe not be the best. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. It just felt fucked.
well, did there's that whole area is just weird. There's a whole legend of the Poplick monster out there. If you really want to get into it, like there's a whole lore and everything about the area, and it's just it's kind of just a well-known creepy kind of forest. It really kind of is, and
It's huge.
It's very large. It's very
because
easy
it's
to get
four
around.
connected. It's four connected along the Floyd's Fork waterway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because people
And,
kayak down it and shit. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
connected.
Do it today.
Broad,
Had it not stormed.
yeah, Broad Run, Turkey Run, the little Strand place, which doesn't count. Pope Lick, Beckley. Beckley, I've had something weird happen there too, but I don't know. That one, I don't really know about that one. Might have just been.
You see, and I remember hiking a couple years back out around Pope Lick, and that's where I felt more daytime creepiness myself personally. Is out in the Pope Lick area.
It is kind of a fucking creepy park.
It is
I will
really
say that.
weird.
I was more worried about getting shot.
I don't like it. I just it was broad daylight, middle of the day, sunshine and whatever, but I just felt, man, I felt uneasy.
There's
Just,
something there. There's something there. There's something there, and I can't figure it out. And it's making me
if
mad.
you ever heard of the legend of the Pope Lick monster, it's a goat-like creature that haunts a train trellis, and there are a lot of deaths on this particular high-up train trellis. It's at the ass end of the county, in a rural area or whatever, but, some people say, oh, it's just, people going to go look for the creature, and then they get up on there and fall off. But there's a whole lot of them that's happening. It's been happening for several decades. And
the best one's the guy who kicked it off and drove his fucking ATV off the damn thing.
okay.
Well, he kicked that shit off, man. He was the first one, 94. Then again, Goatman might have thrown his ass right in front of a train. Who knows, man? I think that's really what I think's going on. Goatman's up there. He's like, yeah, motherfucker.
But here's my thing. Do legends, they all have to come from somewhere, They all got something. They all come from somewhere. Nobody's just pulling this out of their ass.
Are you sure?
Well, usually,
a man that's a goat and a goat that's a man. It's like a dog that's a man that's a man that's a dog.
My point is, what is freaking creepy? They have a haunted attraction out there around Halloween, and man, I don't know.
That shit is good though. They do that right.
But there was moments in there I didn't know if it was part of the attraction or part of just the general absolute insane creepiness of that place. But it's different. I hike pretty often. There's other areas of the city and of the state I'll go hiking in and just feel just fine, la-di-da, skipping through, nothing, whatever. But over there, nope. I remember so very distinctly.
Yeah, I don't like. Yeah, park ones has always given me a weird feel. I never really understood why. I guess it's still kind of dumb.
We had a place around Baton Rouge. They call there's a little town called Grossstetten, Grossstete, which in Cajun French means big head. Okay, and the name of the town came from a tree that was on the edge of the bayou, big cypress tree that had malformed, whatever, and it looked like a huge head facing towards the bayou. When you paddled up to it, that's what you saw. So they named the community after the tree. But anyway, there was an abandoned rail line that ran through Grossstedt off into the swamp. And there was a legend that one of the conductors on a train was killed in an accident, run over by the train, whatever. And he was flagging the train with one of these old railway lanterns, swinging it, to let the engineer know to back up or, whatever. But anyway, he ended up, the legend said he got run over by the train. Well, if you could drive down that old right of way and park at night in a certain spot, and you sit there for a couple of hours and you would see this blue light or green light, whatever, coming down the railroad bed toward you. It would literally come up on top of the railroad bed and come right, and of course that was a favorite place for guys to take their dates. And of course the girls would get scared and hanging on the guys. Oh, okay, the guys
man,
gets to play macho and it's okay, but sooner or later they lose it and they end up leaving, But this went on. It still goes on today, as far as I know. And this is like 50 years ago when I heard about it. So every locale has its little thing, like the Goat Man. Lord knows where that got started.
Oh shit, Waverly is here too. I mean, If that's an old one, though, I don't. I've been up there once. I ain't been in it because it's structurally unsafe, in my opinion. But whatever. Also, kind of disrespectful because you know, I mean, I don't know. That's just my feelings on shit like that, though. Our city's got all kinds of goofy shit like that, though. Wonky, crazy
Hot
stuff.
Rod Haven.
Oh man, that's just. Never mind.
I mean, it's you know, but no, you know, Waverly is here. But you know, funny you mentioned Waverly. Waverly is at the opposite.
I used to live right across from it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nowhere near where we're speaking of, and you know, everybody
but it is close to other hauntings.
It's the Kentucky mecca of creepiness, but
right down
you
the
really
road.
live here. I mean, yeah, is Waverly creepy? Absolutely. You know, if you've ever drove up Harley Drive, it's a winding, crazy road, and it's up through these woods, and you know you're coming up on some shit, and you come up, and it's this huge ass intimidating. It's a big, and it's creepy. You know, it's obviously it's been gutted for several decades, but it is not pleasant. It is very, you know, whatever, but it's a different type of creepy than what these parklands are.
Hey, are you guys familiar with the documentary? It's on Amazon Prime. A couple paranormal researchers did this, and it's called Hellier.
I'm familiar. The Tompkinsville goblins. And guess where my family is from on this side?
Yeah,
they're from that area.
Yeah, Kentucky has some other. You know, there's the goblins.
55, yeah.
And then there's the meat shower. You know, there's all kinds of weird.
Oh, the meat shower. Does that count really? Because it was just somebody throwing. That was just somebody throwing ground beef, buddy. That was just me throwing ground beef out of a helicopter flying low that day.
I'm just talking about Kentucky legends, but no. Yeah, the goblins. Is it Hopkinsville?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where Thelma's from.
Yeah.
Sweet old Thelma, who saw her daughter's apparition from the past.
Yeah. You
know. Or made it up. No, I interrogated her quite a bit though for it. So I mean, she was making it up. I think I would know. No, they are from that area though. It's her just that side. My father's side's actually from E-Town, so much closer. But yeah, that's where they come from. And that's where her father, my grandmother. Her father, who I was telling you, Lee, he was in the Freemasons again.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see by my surroundings, we are super wealthy because of it, and we know all the secrets. He didn't pass shit out, man.
Right.
He wasted it. Damn it. Like, we could have had gold or something. Like that Indiana Jones Nazi gold, but no. But yeah, she would... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say more, Kentucky stuff. There's a lot of Appalachian transplants from where we are here, and I hear... some stories about the Appalachian Mountains and, Eastern Kentucky. There's people who, migrate towards the bustling metropolis of Louisville. But, and you hear stories about don't go out at night, don't answer this call, don't do, kind of
the boogers.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wood boogers.
Yeah. You don't hear, if you hear your name, common stuff. You hear your name being called out in the night. You don't answer.
Yeah.
Or
oh shit! I've got so many good little stories on that. Like I learned, recently. It's so cool. Yeah, my great grandfather believed in all these rules. Like you don't go outside at night. You don't answer the door. If he was one of the sweetest people. But I think one of them is too is like if you caught outside, you're on your own. Like he not letting you in.
Yeah.
And I mean him being in the Freemasons and then his wife, my great grand, she was in the Eastern Star, I think is what it's called. I've got all her cards, like photos of her membership where she would pay her fees, like the little cards they give you.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, but you guys didn't leave us any treasures.
Right, but there's a lot of that Appalachian lore stuff that I went to a college roommate was from Pikeville, Kentucky, and that's pretty deep east in the Appalachians and stuff, and he would be really kind of very superstitious, very, very ritualistic, methodical about stuff. Like she had this whole bedtime routine, and there was something about the windows. You don't look out the windows at night either.
Holy shit! Yeah,
you do not look out.
Gross. Yeah,
or something that don't move the curtains. I remember the name thing. There's a lot of little stuff, and she. I don't know. There's a lot of really, really weird stuff that I learned from her about just paranormal stuff. And Man, so I went to college in Midway, Kentucky, and that was a super paranormal place. That's where some of my earlier experiences happened, and that's kind of how her and I got to talking about some of this stuff. Is, I would just be sitting there studying at my desk. I mean, not to really age myself, but this was the very late 90s, early 2000s. So, technology was what it was back then. So, I might just be like listening to the radio or something, and then it would just shut off. And then it would turn back on a completely different station, or a CD would start playing. So I had a suite. I had a private room and I shared a private restroom with my suite mate, and I would hear the shower turn on, and it would be on for a ridiculous amount of time, and I'd go over there and bang on the wall and realize she wasn't even in her room. Like, why is the shower on? And then it would just turn off, and I would just hear it, but it was just weird stuff. And then I would hear stuff being moved above my room. I would hear furniture being, just dragged back and forth across the floors all night long. And then finally, I just got sick of it one night, and I went out barefooted, looking up to see who the hell, where am I going to go? Or I went upstairs first to go try to find who was above me, and I realized I couldn't figure out who was right above me. So that's when I went outside, and I realized that the building was shaped kind of like an can't even describe it, but it had like a higher top and then like lower, and then had two little wings on the side. And my dorm room was on one of the far wings where there was nothing above it. There was, rooms above the other ones, like towards the middle, but on the end where I was, there was no rooms above me. And I don't know what I was hearing. Just really, really crazy experiences. I have some photos that I was taking with regular film camera back then that have some really weird abnormalities in it that I've never really been able to explain. So I don't know. Kentucky's a weird, weird place.
It,
Weird
it
place.
yeah, it can be. I mean, there's a Spotsville monster, which is fun. The maze, there's something in Maysville, which I mean, that might be the same thing. I don't know. It's comparatively, it's supposed to be like a bear dog or something, like basically like a supersized werewolf that also
Bear
looks
that's
like
a
a bear.
dog. A dog that's a bear.
It's a bear that's a dog. That's a dog that's a wolf. That's a dog that's a bear. That's also a man. And it's like, well, I mean, no, it's a fun legend though, because I watched the doc. I can't remember what it was called. It's not a documentary. It's one of these TV shows. It was like Monsters and Myths or something. It's no longer.
Yeah.
It got canceled, but it went into depth and it talked I liked it because it does both sides. It does the science side, and because they got a guy from University of Kentucky to kind of say this is insane, this doesn't exist, and then they had just the guy, the cryptozoologist, is like, yeah, it is. And it doesn't push you either way. That's what's cool. Like I was like, I don't know, that'd be cool if it did, but this guy says it doesn't. He's from Kentucky, the university, so I don't know shit. But I mean, there's all kinds of. I mean, the Hopkinsville, going back to that, like, I mean, they said it was owls, but I'm like, I don't know. I've been on Earth for a while. I've never been attacked by a group of fucking owls.
Unless you were up on Seatonville Road and your car was open, but
Okay, well then just there we go. Debunked. It didn't happen. There's some other weird stuff too. I can't think of it now.
I mean, owls are some creepy.
Oh, they are.
They're
barred owls are definitely creepy. Barred owls are the creepiest of the owls. I don't like them.
Yeah,
God, they're ugly.
And there's always some just like explanation for a lot of these things that kind of make sense, but
not fully
really buying it. Just like the meat shower, they say it was vultures that exploded or something. They ate something and they just exploded in the air, and it was just vultures.
And it's like those. If you remember, you probably heard me rambling about this insanity. The dog, not the dog, the animal attacks down by the zoo. How they just killed 7 llamas and then injured 6 others, and then killed 2 donkeys, which that's almost more impressive than the llamas. But like carved this little like path of destruction along these places about 3.5 to 6 miles in length, I think. And it's just like they said it was an unknown canine. And, I know a lot of people get worked up by all this shit, but this is right by our zoo. And it's in a very populated area. They ended up saying it was a pack of dogs. And I just was like, well, let's go kick the shit out of these dogs then. Let's put them in jail. Because like if there's a roving pack of animals, dogs like this just terrorizing and murdering donkeys of all things, like, because it's kind of insane that even a pack of dogs. I mean,
even the big cat theory, the big cat.
Yes, that's what I was getting at when they say canines. they don't always mean that because the teeth that cats have are technically canines. Like that's what the attack, not the attack. I've got it written down somewhere, but it's basically you can refer to those as canines too. So it could be, big cats is what and so they leave it vague because
canine is an actual tooth in your,
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they're using that terminology to, if anything, people have looked at that. Like, if you want to do a conspiracy, I don't really think it's a conspiracy. It's more like, yeah, it's a canine. And it's like, what do you mean? Like a cat canine or a dog canine? It's a canine, man. Like, just stop and fuck off. Like, I don't get paid enough in the Kentucky Fish and Wildlife. They really don't. But,
yeah, there was that attack. And then there was that young boy, again, in the Appalachian area.
Eastern, yeah, Knott County. Yeah,
Kentucky,
Knott County.
Was found mauled. And they couldn't figure out.
What's the weirdest thing about that?
I don't know. They couldn't figure out what it was.
The date.
February.
No, a year to the day. February 18th is when those animals were killed.
Right.
And then February 18th is when that boy was killed, a year apart. That's what.
Yeah. And the same kind of
yes.
gruesome.
Yes.
And still no real explanation. They came back like
weird.
A month or two later and said, "Oh, it was a wild dog."
No, they did. They came out with. I actually did look. It's reason nobody knows about it. It went so under the radar, and they released it in August. Because that's what's still weird about it. They released a whole news report and they said they tested the DNA and they found the area and they were able to link the DNA to 3 of the wild dogs they found out by the mine, in the old mines up there where he was kind of sitting, not in but near. And so they said I said, what the fuck did you do? You took samples of DNA off this kid, and then you tested the DNA against dogs found on that site.
Wild dogs, no less.
And how'd you do it? Did you get them in a headlock? No, actually, what I'm getting at is, why did they go to so much fucking trouble to prove that? That's what's weird to me.
Right.
Seems very elaborate, very driven. They can't. And I have seen them do far less for murder cases.
Oh, in Kentucky, that's what I'm getting at. I've seen them do far less for
you're going to go capture
horrible things.
3 wild dogs from an abandoned mine and take DNA from a cadaver and from
in what part of the James? What part of the state too? The poorest part of the state. How'd y'all get that money for lab tests? That much for 3 lab tests? Bullshit. So that's where people need to say it's not so much like, oh, they said it's an unknown kid. What could that be? Look at the real, actual follow-ups to this stuff. That is where you'll start seeing like.
Big. And here's the thing: it's one of those stories that, there's so much bullshit that happens every day in the news and in the media that you'd soon forget about it. Something else would come up and take the attention, and it's just a thing that happened, whatever. But it kind of. I had kind of forgotten a little bit about it. And then, Bug comes back and says, oh, they figured out what happened 6-7 months later to that boy. And it's like you said, why go through all this trouble?
We caught the dogs.
Yeah, we caught them.
You guys have shot dogs for so much less. Like LMPD shoots dogs for hobbies, actually.
Yeah, it's like something.
They really do, actually. You hear about a dog getting shot when they come up to somebody's house almost like every 6 months. And it's like, I feel like it's still something that should be happening that often. So for them to test the dogs and then destroy them after the fact is just very weird to me. It's like, why go to that much trouble in such a? This is not our county either. We're in Jefferson, not counties in eastern Kentucky. It's the poorest area of an already poor state.
Have resources. A lot of these counties barely have sheriff stations or
Yeah, and when you did all this DNA testing, Fish and Wildlife. Come on.
Did they finally close that case? Did they finally close it? Because the last time,
that's what the solution was. It was a pack of wild dogs' DNA. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when they tested 3 against the DNA. So they kept. I mean, it's like DNA testing does take a while, but it is it's expensive, and it's like, why go to that much trouble when you don't? Again, like living in the state, trust me, I have seen some heinous shit where they were like, I don't know, man, I gotta get up and walk, and like that's a lot for me to have to do for you not to get fucking shot in the head by that guy there. I'm just gonna go ahead and go back to the station. Like they are really. We've got good cops. We really do. We've got some. That's what's weird. We've got some good, decent cops, but then we got some really lazy shitbags on the force. And so for them to go to all this trouble, I guess it's because they're like, we get to shoot these fucking dogs.
That's
everywhere,
every
right?
police force.
Yeah.
That's every police force.
Yeah, well, I mean, LMPD right now is leading this. It feels like they're leading the country in ineptitude because they tend to do a lot of dumbass shit and then just kind of go, "What do you want us to do about it? You want us to actually do our jobs? Like, I'm not doing that shit." So, like, I mean, they make everybody else police force look so. It's just and it's
It's
stuff
also
that nobody even hears about.
it's in an area of the state where you could easily say it was some
Yeah,
wild animal. It was a bear. It was a coyote. It was a whatever. And just easy, like I said, it would have sort of.
yeah.
It was a
Coyote would have been the best to
we're
say
good,
because
but yeah, that's what was so weird. Is it was in the most rural Appalachian like part where any of that crap could have happened and nobody would have blinked an eye, and they went out of their way to I don't know.
yeah, the original scene had a shitload of people on site. It was really weird how many units and departments showed up. But it's just also to me, I always go back. There is something there, and I can't figure it out because I just can't. I've looked at the weather. I've looked at everything I could, the moon cycle even. And not to say I think it's a werewolf. I don't think it was because the werewolf would have tore that kid all to hell. He wouldn't have just, I mean, you wouldn't have found him. I also don't know if those things are real.
What year was this? What year was the zoo
20
thing?
I believe the animal attacks were 2020 or no, they were 2019 and then the boy was 2020. And then nothing happened because I was waiting. I was watching February 18th around the state. I was monitoring everything I could because days before and the day of and everything because I was like what's going to happen this year because it's so bizarre to me that it happened the same day. The same day. Why? And the same. It's just that can't be
and it's also that whole
period.
That whole period from February 18th, 19 to February 18th, 20 was that whole palpable weird feeling that something was getting ready to happen. Like you just felt this shift happening. And I remember distinctly talking to Bucks and friends, neighbors and stuff like something's coming, something's happening, something is shifting. It ain't just with me. It ain't just with you. It's something is going on in this world. And I don't know what it is. And a lot of my other people in my, the spiritual community, we were all kind of commenting on it. Like, what is it? And then you have these weird animal attacks and these other just occurrent things that, him and I personally experienced. And it's just like,
between those periods.
And, February 18th, the world kind of shut down over here anyway on March 13th, 2020. So it was like all this predecessor to this major shift that happened in the world. And what is this all about? What is the meaning? What is happening? Why?
And where else is it? Where else?
And what's next? Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
It's not done. It is not done, whatever it is.
Right here in Virginia, we had something similar to that. It happened back in 2017. I've pulled up an article about it. I had it saved.
Well, Helly, you've actually had one where you were on site, and I mean, what happened with your the incident you were on, you investigated. I mean, I'll be honest.
The animal mutilations.
That shit is unnerving. That is unnerving because I immediately thought, and I hate to be like this because it's such but I was like cultist. I was like, there's got to be something going on with some kind of occult activity. But then I'm like, but these people would have been targeted, followed. Like you would have to be able to perform these intricate procedures, not get caught.
Knowledge.
Yes, and it's just like that's where I'm like, that falls apart because it's just like, because then I asked, what the fuck are y'all doing if you have this much skill? You're wasting your time cutting up a mini horse. Right. This is what you chose to do. Go home. Get the fuck out of here. Don't come back.
Say, being pretty ingrained in the witch community and the, whatever you want to call it. Does that stuff happen? Sure, it does. Mm-hmm. Does it happen as much as people blame it on people in this community? Absolutely not. It's a very, very specific small sect of belief systems that do that. But what were you going to say that happened in 2017, Lee?
A friend, a Virginia woman who was killed by her pet dogs, can't believe what happened. Bethany Stevens, 22, was found dead in a wooded area last week around 8:20 p.m. local time of Mankin Road, Goochland, Virginia. According to the local broadcaster WTVR, her father had called 911 after 8 p.m. to report that he'd found her in the woods. Now, this little snippet right here is contradictory to what another article had told me. If I could find it, I'd bring it up. But it says deputies who responded to the incident described a grisly scene, saying the dogs were eating her, a local sheriff said. Now, the other article said they were standing around her, which says they were guarding her for whatever reason. Let me cut to the chase. Let me cut right to the chase. The most important detail that we could not release because we were worried about the well-being of the family is that in the course of trying to capture the dogs early Friday morning, we turned and looked. I observed, as well as 4 other deputy sheriffs, the dogs eating the rib cage on the body, Goochland County Sheriff James Agnew said on Monday, December 18th. But a friend, Barbara Norris, told WWBT in Richmond that it's unexpected that her dogs would attack Stevens. She said, "These dogs would not attack her. They'd kill you with kisses. I couldn't tell you if it was blunt force or if it was a mauling, but I know those dogs didn't do it." The
Blunt
only
force.
time... Right. I also had the medical examiner's report.
Were they
They had-
Dachshunds by any chance?
No, they were pit bulls.
Okay, because there's a similar case I remember about almost identical. That
North
a lady,
Carolina.
Dachshunds that attacked her, and it was like she had trained them and raised them, and they just allegedly turned on her one day, and they could not figure out, like they had completely mauled her to death and could not figure out like what happened, how it started, and like you kind of said, where the trauma really was originating from. But I'm sorry, I'll let you.
I just want to real quick while I just remembered something. When me and Lee were originally talking about this, I remember him saying, I looked up dog attacks on a website, dog attacks reported ones. They have seen an uptick in the last decade, it looks like. There wasn't as many. It's either the reports were inconclusive or not recorded back then, which is very possible, or there's an uptick, and that's weird in its own right. I don't know.
But you said the medical examiner report, you have that as well?
I did have, if I could find that, pull it up.
Interesting.
I remember.
Yeah.
It's just coming back to me now. Yeah. It was weird.
It's weird that this is another case, another breed of dog. You know,
And
pit
why
bulls
are they going to so much trouble? That's the thing too. It's like they're almost like, the pit there did it. And it's like, oh shit, no man.
And that's what's weird. You know, the story that I was thinking of, little bitty Dachshund, little hot dog dogs. You know, that's a news story because you don't expect those little guys to really whatever. But pit bulls, that's kind of what they are known for. You know, if you're
their jaws lock in.
that's going to attack, it's going to be a pit.
Yeah.
You know, my immediate thought. So
Or a husky, because in that animal mutilation that happened here, the llamas and shit. The guy that his donkeys were killed, or one of the farmers ended up shooting 2 huskies, and he blamed them, and that kind of also got pinned on him. But then they said roving dogs, or a pack of roving dogs, but it could have been the huskies. And the owner was like, "You killed my fucking dogs. Are you serious? Like you just shot them for no reason. They didn't, just because they were near his property, but there was no evidence whatsoever. He just got gun happy, shot them. So he killed 2 huskies for no reason."
How many wild dogs are just running around? Like again,
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
In
We have
all
a problem
my
in our
years,
state.
I have never seen a loose wild dog just anywhere in any of my travels. How many are just out here just attacking? Like, I don't know.
Hey kid, come over here for a minute. And it's like, oh shit, this pack of dogs is... No man, my mom told me not to talk to packs of dogs. Kid, get over here now. It's like, what is this shit?
See, this is Bethany right here, and this is her dog.
That's like that dog that lives next door with that one girl, man. He's a sweetheart.
It's like a lab.
Yeah, he's like a mix of something.
You see right here, this is the article I was telling you about. That's when he found the 2 dogs guarding the body of his daughter, who were mauled and killed by the pets.
So that's what I'm saying. Her father found her and said that, and it's like, why would her father say that? And why is it in quotes? You know what I'm saying? I'm saying, like, why would he say that if it wasn't true? Like, he would know it better than anyone.
Well, yeah.
Why would he just say, oh, they were guarding it? If they killed his fucking daughter, I don't think he's going to be so nice about it. You know what I'm saying? He's like, yeah, these fucking dogs did it. Like, let's get them. Like, so it is. It's like news stories like this. This is a great example, Lee. I'm glad you found to keep all this because this is actually really good. example of like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, didn't them dog mauling happen to a dog sitter recently, like this past 6 months, and she lived?
Mm-hmm.
So, and she was a little girl. She wasn't very big. I mean, from what I could tell, I mean, they disfigured her horribly,
Oh
but
yeah.
like she didn't die. And so what I'm getting at is, why don't we see, I guess, with these canine attacks then, if it's a roving pack of dogs, I kind of get it. But if it's just maybe your pets, I don't know. I mean, I don't know enough about all that, I guess. So, I mean, it's absolutely in the realm of happening, but it just seems, my thing is, it doesn't seem like they're covering something up. It's more, I wonder if they don't even fucking know, actually, because I'm telling you, Kentucky with Fish and Wildlife, Otter Creek charges what, $3 to get in per car or some shit? Man, they ain't even, I've gone there before and ain't nobody in that booth. I'm assuming it's because the one person that works the whole damn area isn't there. So, Kentucky Fish and Wildlife has a budget less than, I've got in my bank account. They don't get anything, and they
Oh
don't
yeah, my
hire.
husband worked for them. The whole parks department is
Yeah.
struggling, right now. So
So that's what I'm saying. Where are they getting this? Like,
putting
where?
all this effort for investigation when you can just easily say, "Yeah, a dog did it." It sucks.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
How are you getting the money? Who's paying for it? Like, who's giving you all that? Like, hey, you go run those damn tests. Don't you rest until? And it's like, yeah, I'm just collecting $3 for the cars that come through. I don't know about this. I don't think I'm equipped. And it's like, no, it just seems weird. It's like
the
so
guard.
much like,
That's really resonating with me that the dogs were guarding the body.
Mm-hmm.
That's very, because to know how dogs are their nature, they're very protective of their owners, and
hey,
Especially
Trinket, you protect it?
pit
No, she'd
bulls.
run off.
I'm telling
especially
you right now,
yeah.
pits are very, very loyal.
Now, were the
Yep.
dogs? Did they? Were the dogs injured at all, or did they mention any of the condition of the actual animals?
They didn't say anything about that. They didn't mention if they were injured or not. They didn't.
They took him to the
They said
furnace as soon as they could, probably.
Right. They didn't.
probably. And the look, when an animal senses you're wounded, what's it going to do? It's going to try and lick that wound.
Yep.
How
Yeah.
many times? How
Typically.
many times? And it wants to clean it. It's
Yeah.
nature. It's its instinct
Yeah.
to clean it, get all that infection out of it,
Mm-hmm.
keep it clean. What blood they found off of that girl had to been from that very purpose right there. And anybody with any instinct, any knowledge of animals whatsoever, and this is just my opinion, I'm no expert, but I got a brain. That's, I believe, is what happened. Something else
Yep.
got a hold of that poor girl. Something else got a hold of her. And they
Yep.
blamed the dogs because of the breed. They were able to get by with it very
Yeah.
easily.
Very easily.
That's what's weird is I don't understand what they would be protect. Like, I mean, I know everybody always like goes towards the dog. And again, like it's not so much about belief. It's about what it is, and
Mm-hmm.
that's where
Yeah.
it's like if there is definitely something, and that's where I'd start. It's not so
Makes
much
me
on
think it's
being whatever. It's just
something more supernatural than natural, because if the dogs were still there and uninjured and were still able to guard her, what are they guarding it from? And they
Right.
didn't attack whatever. If it was a natural
Right.
creature,
well, it didn't kill
they
them.
attack it. Why was there
Right.
no fur, feathers, whatever the hell,
Yeah.
bones, blood, anything aside from
Yeah.
the victim?
Signs of a struggle, yeah. Like signs of a dust up, because dogs are going to dust up. There's going to be grass, if there's dirt, whatever. There's going to be
There's
signs of where.
Yeah, of another.
Yes, and so that's where I'm saying, like, if it's if there's something out there that's a biological entity that's however much, like 600 pounds, 7 feet tall, whatever you want to call it. If it's going to murder the dog. It's going to tear them dogs apart too. It's going to kill them. And it's not just going to say, oh, I killed a woman, I'm going to go ahead and go. You guys, hey, I'm part dog, man. I totally get it. You know what I'm saying? It's a woman. I'm not part woman. So it's not, it's just, come on, man. Like, it is critical thinking on that end. And we have to say, it can't be biological. So what else is it? And because if it's biological, there's going to be a bigger impact on the ecosystem, the environment. I mean, trickle down effects you wouldn't even think about. Like I always say, gray wolves out in Yellowstone, once they were
Right.
reintroduced in 95, the beaver colonies were almost completely gone. They went from 1 to 9 within that year, and now they're in the thousands. Like, they have come back completely, and it's because gray wolves were reintroduced from the trickle down cascading effects on the environment ecosystem. gray wolves were able to. So again, if you have something that's twice the size of a gray wolf roaming around a place where it will absolutely interact with humans, I have to understand. I wonder how many people haven't tried to take a shot at it yet. I would have absolutely. I'm not gonna lie. I would definitely take a shot at something like that. Fuck that. I don't want to know what. Get away. Go on. But also, there's other people that would totally, being not being facetious, there really would be incidents of that, because that's what happens out in the areas where Idaho, Montana, people shoot gray wolves when they come around there. They don't even hesitate. They don't care. There were laws against it. They still took those shots.
I mean, it's a predator. It's a threat. My question for Lee is, what you said this was in Virginia, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Where in Virginia? Not.
Let's see. Let me make sure here. Goochland.
Is that anywhere near?
Goochland, Virginia. It's pretty close to Richmond.
Okay. I'm just trying to see if there's any sort of correlation with these animal attacks with any of the area or something, if in relation to where we are here, if there is any there.
No, it's closer to Central Virginia.
Yeah,
but I found the the similarity really striking, and how that it just
all within the same time. It's weird,
right? Within a few years of each other. I mean, it just stinks of it. It stinks. It
does, and that's what's weird is do I think that it's shady? Yeah, but I mean, that's where I have to wonder what are they doing? I don't have enough faith, honestly, in a lot. I mean, again, look at your local state governments. Yes, things do run as much as they can to keep everybody going, but really though, I look at how they deal with other kind of stuff. I'm not going to put any faith that they could keep something like this under wraps. They just couldn't. They're fucked. I mean, right. And why would they start coming out with the UAP shit? Readily admitting to all that stuff, but they're hide the big furry fucking thing. Aliens are not more terrifying.
Really concerning. It's all of a sudden, after
which is weird too.
All these years of just denying and gaslighting us into telling us that we're the only things out, whatever. All of a sudden, and bam, 2020. You know what? You're right. There are other life forms. There's something that landed in Florida. Oh, damn it, y'all are on to something the whole time. Now, like you said, it's a major distraction from something else. Let's give them aliens, so they're not looking at the real thing here.
What's the real thing then? God, aliens are not.
No, I can't. It's worse than that. I guess.
Shit. Uh-oh. I mean, I'm telling you right now, Dogman, I would rather deal with that than something like the fucking Dover Demon or a Gray. I don't like those things. If that's, if you put me up, I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, give me that goddamn werewolf. I think I might be able to kill him, or I'll shoot myself first before he gets me. There's a plan for that. Aliens, I ain't got a plan, man. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to let's get this over with. Let's just get this over with. I mean, so that's where I guess my opinion lies, is I'm more afraid of that kind of thing than tangling with other stuff. But it just, again, we all already knew all this stuff. It's kind of like someone, you've heard the joke, and it's an old one, and someone comes and says, hey, check this cool meme out. And it's yeah, I saw that a year ago. So did everyone else. I'm glad you're on board finally. And that's what the government did. They said, hey, look at these videos. It's we've seen them. Thanks.
Exactly.
Well, another thing,
who killed JFK? No.
George Bush Sr.
We're just stupid enough, just defeatish, just enough to distract us for a minute, or it's going to hit that one particular sect of the population that'll take it and do what they will with it or whatever to turn it into whatever else. But again, everybody I know, when that came out, we were all side-eyeing the shit out of what? Are you serious? Yeah, we've known this. What is really going on? Why are y'all saying this now?
I think the only place that I really, and this might get too often, but I think there is something to the Skinwalker Ranch area, just because of the indigenous. It goes beyond just what people might think. I think there is something absolutely otherworldly about that area, because they really did throw a lot of money into it through Robert Bigelow. That man threw a lot of millions of dollars. They created a whole the U.S. government, and he put money, like they funded through him, and they tried to set up a little, like they sent scientists and shit. And that's what's weird is they originally didn't find much except very bizarre anomalies that almost seem not otherworldly, like as in outer space, but something about our own terrestrial planet we really do not understand. And there's certain areas of it where it's more anomalous, and I don't even know where I'm going with it, but it's just that's an area that the stories out of it are so they're weird and bizarre, and the fact it's even called Skinwalker is kind of fun because it's like it's really doesn't it has nothing to do with it all the way, but
Right.
it's just very interesting. Like the Uten Basin, that whole area, very interesting, and I don't know, maybe that has somehow leaked out into the rest of everything. Like what that could be a whole other theory, man. Like
Well, there's
another reality is leaked out. It's something went wrong, and it's no longer contained, and it's leaking out in whatever you want to say, just to other aspects of the
Folks,
or other places.
I hate to do this, but I got to leave y'all.
Okay.
Uh,
You go ahead and bounce,
Thank you,
brother.
Claude.
That's
Yeah,
I got
thanks,
I got
Claude.
some
It's
driving to
late.
do before I can go back, go to bed tonight. So,
get out of here. I'm getting tired myself.
enjoyed being here. Enjoyed seeing everybody. Buck, Jamie, enjoyed it. Lee, thank you much.
Yeah.
You're very welcome. Glad to have
Appreciate
you,
Thank
being
you,
brother.
here.
Claude.
Glad you're able to come make it.
Y'all have a good evening. We'll
You
catch
All right,
up
you
later.
too.
You too.
All right. Bye bye.
But what I was getting ready to say was, bringing up the indigenous thing. I've heard some theories about, obviously we're on some indigenous land. It's very spiritually powerful. There's a whole lot there that unless you are in, you are indigenous yourself, that you're not privy to.
Right.
And I've read and seen some things about this is kind of a revenge thing. This is a way that there's something there, it's being unleashed to kind of take back what was taken at some point.
I mean,
I've that's just something I've seen and read out there
and
in
that's a
the
shame
world.
too. I mean, it is because it's like with me, I'm fine. Like I know I'm Caucasian and obviously know what but my whole belief is that like I would here you can have it back. Like you probably do better than we've done with it. We've poisoned this land. We have,
And it
you
might be
know,
even beyond just the indigenous aspect of it. It could just be the earth, the land, whatever itself, just taking itself back from
Mother Nature
humanity in
rebelling.
general, not any particular nationality, sect, creed, whatever. It's just taking it back. Because humans have it just in and of itself have destroyed it. And this is, I don't know,
It's
there's
a
That's
natural. It's a natural reaction, like a defense
Yeah.
mechanism.
Mhm.
It's not
Let's-
like it's a sentient. It's an element. It just happens
it's an
because
elemental reaction. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just,
So we get to
all bullshit.
we got to talking about Skinwalker Ranch, and I do believe it's just because it's had so much publicity
Yeah.
Yes.
that because it stands out so much. I do believe there's more land out here that has more going on than even Skinwalker Ranch is got going on, and I think what you've got going on right here with you is pretty telling. Even
Yeah, I
the
don't
areas, yeah, exactly. In the area around the property you're on right now, there's even stuff, as you say, there's stuff going on all around you. I mean,
what's weirdly, you're talking about family history, and we were talking about my uncle. And again, my uncle and I are not we're not super close. I see him. I really don't see him very often, maybe twice a year. But it's one of those intrinsic things. Your blood. You can get along with each other and talk. But he saw something out near Otter Creek. Him and his wife, and it scared her ass to pieces, which deserved it. But he just kind of that's the story I told you. He just kind of told me after the fact, and he said it looked like some kind of weird, like a shitty drawing of a chupacabra. Actually, that's actually not the chupacabra; it's something else. And it's this weird little, like he said, it was skinlet, like it looked like it was flesh colored. And it had a weird gait, like bentward the backward, the digigrade legs, but it was hairless, completely fleshy colored, and just like pale, I don't know, like almost glistening, like darting across 4-lane traffic out there, which I know where he's talking about. Until it's fucking massive, and he said that thing took it right across real quick. So, that happened in November of 2021, and so, it's weird. His experiences are not exactly the same as mine, but I don't know. It's just weird that someone else has them in my family, but it's almost like he's the same way as me. He just tells you after the fact, and he's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "What am I gonna do?" He's like, "It's a thing that it's weird." He's more pissed off about the bobcat in his property that's pulling chickens through the fence. I guess I don't really.
Yeah.
It's like just an afterthought, but it's interesting because it's just like his experiences are almost. I mean, they're so much scarier to me.
Really funny. I just thought of something. What Lee was saying about the area surrounding your property. There is the one friend I was telling you about that wouldn't stay at that house on the property that's not about 5 miles out from where you are. She moved a few miles, I guess it'd be south of where she grew up, in Mount Washington.
Mount Washington this way, yeah.
Yeah, it's just right on the other side. It's a few miles. I can even show you. It's by the McDonald's.
I know where it's at. Yeah. I lived out that way. Yeah.
That to me was more, I mean, she lived at the end of the street. It's, whatever. It was kind of creepy, kind of dark or whatever. And her scaredy cat ass, she had no problem staying out there.
I know. I didn't either.
Go out to Taco Bell at 2 a.m. by herself. Yep. Just la la la, be fine.
That's the one place. Yeah.
Bring her 4 miles in to Seatonville Road, back where she lived. Not having it, has to be on the phone with somebody, has to have somebody walk her in, not staying out there. It's just that many miles difference. And she was that different of a person kind of in how her behaviors were and how she felt comfortable. So there is something about that area. And there is a line, like I said, there's these lines of demarcation.
There is.
When you travel through, you can feel it. It is a palpable feeling. It's a heaviness. It is a feeling of being watched. It's a like almost a pit you get in your chest that something is just more.
That half a house, dude, we need to go get a picture of half a house. I don't know what the hell, who lived in that house.
Yeah, there's some weird property.
Oh my God, who lived in that house? Like, I want to know so bad. It is like a house that is cut in half.
Yeah, it's really weird. And I even
asked, like one floor vertically. I don't get it.
I asked Ashley about that, and I said, did they tear a part of it down or something burn off? She's like, no. She's lived after her life. She said, no, it's always been that way. And she can't remember who lived there or what the story was. But
I've gotten out once.
That's crazy.
Jay, I forgot to tell you this. Holy shit. I've gotten out there once because I was very curious one time. If you pull your car all the way in their driveway, they have cut a trench. It'll tear the ass end out of your car. You'll get stuck.
Oh.
Good God.
What?
Like, because I didn't pull out. I walked up that way. I pulled in. It's further down the driveway, so
we went
go
there
all the way
together.
down. Yeah, I know, but I got out one time on my own, like during the day, and I looked and I said, "What the fuck? If this isn't a wrong turn situation, I can't tell you what is, because like you will literally drop it'll tear your entire suspension."
I remember there's like a little swamp to the right when you pull in. Yeah. And then we saw all those. There was like 2 or 3 dead carcasses of animals, just like,
oh yeah,
that was weird too, in that driveway. So you pull into the driveway, and we saw like a duck that was just torn to shit, a raccoon, because you could still see the mask. It's like we saw like 2, 3 maybe animals, just like,
it's pretty gnarly. It's weird.
Driveway, like weird. It was a mouse. I think it was a rat or a mouse or something that was there. It had something with a tail, something marsupial. But just really bizarre, and that house is really creepy. And I mean, I'd be happy.
It is a creepy. Oh my God, I hate it so much. Like, but it's
take some pictures. I'd like to take some pictures about where Pope Lick, where that is, and where I felt kind of whatever. Bud told me about this about a week or 2 ago, and I've just been super busy with work and things. But I've had an opportunity to kind of touch base with a couple of the friends that lived out there, and I got a little bit of anecdotal stuff. But there's still a couple of people I want to talk to, and get some information from, because, like I said, it's just.
And I never would. That's what's weird, is I would never ever have thought it's that area. It's always in Louisville to me. the anomalous things I've experienced have never been what I thought
What
I
do you
would,
think? Yeah.
and never where you
Never,
think it would be.
like you said, everybody thinks, oh, Waverly, oh, this, oh, that. And it's never where you expect. And it's always when you least expect it, too. You think you're just in a normal whatever. And all of a sudden it's like gloom and doom. And don't know why. But I need to hop off here. I got to go get my kiddo early in the morning. Wearing out over here. So I'll
I
leave.
hear you. It's time to wrap things up anyway. It's been
Yeah.
2.5 hours.
Oh,
Jamie,
wow.
thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
Thank you
glad
so
to be
much.
able to. Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome anytime.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you later. Have a good one.
Okay, you too.
Bye-bye.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, I mean, and not to ignore that question, I do think ley lines. Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough about them. I know a little bit, but I think being I'm, I think when I said 5 miles, she was like, it's that's my like my mapping brain at work because like I take a couple of those classes and I do a lot of it, so like I'm very ingrained in like that's 5 miles. It's a weird little thing I have. It's not that it wasn't override. I was just like, I can't help it. It's almost like I'm like that's fine. It's just because you have to know. But like, and I've mapped it. I have mapped it because I was interested to see exactly all the. If you drive the whole route of everything out, it's about 11 miles. But it's as the crow flies about 5, and that's it. So it's kind of weird. It's I don't know, man. I mean, thinking about that house, I absolutely want to go back and get pictures. But yeah, there's we did stop. Now I remember what she's talking about. But like what I meant, like we backed it back out because I actually stopped there after 2019, not too long after that when we first had that weird thing. And I didn't have Trink because I remember it was right before I got her too. There is down the drive towards there's a big hangar, almost like it's a barn, but it's huge. It's bigger than the house. The house could fit in there 3 times. This weird little house. But there's a trench, man. I'm telling you, it'll tear. Even a 4-wheel drive will get stuck. It is dug out, like concreted too. It's not rudiment. It's actually like completely like done in a way. It's like someone put some effort. And I'm like, why would you like? You are gonna tear the ass in. If you forget to put something over, you're gonna tear your own car up, dummy. Like, but again, nobody lives there either. It's just sat vacant forever. It's so weird, man. But like, I want to absolutely get a picture of it because it's just. I'm not kidding, dude. It is like this house. It's like a Lego block. If you build one straight up, that's what it looks like. It has. I just don't understand what happened. It's like somebody like was building the front side of a house and was going to connect it with the back, and then take that and connect that onto another floor. And it's but they gave up. Yeah, that's along the road we've had. Yeah, it leads into those parks. It's right. It's actually right. It's down the road from the park entrance to Turkey Run. So I don't know. It's just weird. In the park ones, that one part. So I don't know. It's just we need to get some more pictures. I need to actually die because I mean it's really fascinating, and I mean whatever's going on here. I mean there's no easy answers, and I don't really know either. I just try to keep track of it better, and I mean now I'm not daring anything to happen. It fascinates me, but. I think it bothers me a lot more that I can't figure it out. Like, that's what makes me uneasy. It makes me kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I could be wrong, It's just an opinion, but the way things are adding up, it seems to me like whatever's going on, I don't think a smudging is going to take care of it.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think this is something that has to do with an entirely different.
I know, man. We're good. You know exactly. That's what I've been thinking. Like, I mean, I told it to go away, or I spoke out loud my intentions, and it didn't. I mean, so, I just more or less don't like have a babbling like, oh my god, I'm terrified of it. Like, don't want that. But
right,
it's not an entity. I've felt that before. I felt that out even in the park. That felt like, that. This feels. almost like if, and I'm the ant in this situation. It almost feels like if you bent down to talk to an ant,
Right.
you don't know what you're saying, or it doesn't know
Exactly.
what you don't, and all it's going to do is feel like, oh my god, and
Yeah.
that's how I feel. I feel like this thing is not threatening, but I don't think it understands that it could step on you at any moment. So that's
Trying to.
about the best way to put it. And the other night was weird. It's just I don't know. Again, I'm not going to be afraid of something shutting the phone off. I can do that too. So
Right.
but you're right, man. I agree with you 100%. Smudging, like, thank, because yeah, I'm hearing that a lot. I mean, trust me, if Jane really thought that was going to be something, she would have already. She's offered it, but she doesn't push for it because I don't think she really thinks that's going to do anything.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't
I
know.
was
It's just something that we don't get.
there was a documentary I saw, and I've been trying to look it up, and then we really don't have a whole lot of time. um, but it was about these people who had this house, and it's right. It's almost like it's in the middle of a vortex, right? Where two lines of convergence are constantly bumping together. Something's always happening there, and it's not of the conventional paranormal nature.
Man,
It's
yeah.
not.
See, you are on point. You know this. Yes, you're saying yeah, yeah.
Look,
Man,
I've I've
you're
I've
yeah,
I've fooled around with this for over 20 years.
yeah,
I know the difference between an intelligent haunting, um, uh, a residual haunting, whether it's malevolent or what have you, and I can tell the difference. Not only that, by just the evidence that's presented to me, I can walk into a house and sometimes I can just feel it. What you're describing to me, initially it was set off the same type of warning bells that Claude was talking about, an earthbound spirit, something like that.
yeah,
But
yeah,
he,
yeah.
but he really didn't have all of the information that you and I have shared.
Yeah, and that's what I try. You know, he would say, yeah, that's like when he said something about whispering behind, and I was like, oh, it's
Right,
like I didn't really, and I'm kind of bad about that because I have talking to you, you already know
right.
everything because I did go
Hmm.
through that, but
Yeah,
and that's why I try to kind of go back and say, oh, but and that's the thing. It just felt like something. It didn't feel like it was trying to even. I don't know. I don't know what it was doing. I don't know. It felt like almost if you're trying to start a lawnmower and you flooded it or something and
hmm
you're trying to get it started, so you keep pulling the cord, and it might start. How you got to let it rest and try it again. So I mean, it might start 3 minutes later. Well, again, time is it's not always it's different. I think in some regards than we think. What if this thing had been trying to do that for a while, and then it
right.
finally got
Hmm.
through, and it's like, oh damn it,
Yeah,
no, it's the wrong
yeah.
time. And so it's almost, if you want my aunt, that's what I felt like it was. I didn't feel like it was anything to do with me. I feel like maybe my presence interfered somewhat to jump start it for. I don't know. That's putting too much like power in my hands. I don't like doing that. I don't think of myself that way. I don't think that. But maybe I burst a bubble. That's the only thing I think by entering the area is what I mean.
Right.
And it finally the ripcord, boom, and it like comes through, and that's what it more felt like. It felt like something that it had been trying to do, and it finally worked, and it was like but
Dude,
it's
this
you know
there's something I've been wanting to ask you,
absolutely
and
sure.
I'm sure you and Jamie probably talked about this, but I
Yeah,
gotta ask you this: Are you
sure.
sensitive? Are you
I
sensitive?
I don't think so. And I don't I I have very good intuition as far as that's one of the few things I'll give myself credit for. I am able to read situations and assess them where I see other people didn't think about something, and I'm like I consider everything that could be in very quickly. I process information very quickly, actually,
Right.
on a visual
Hmm.
level. She has said that um, she said something to me a couple times, and I don't know how I feel about it. It's almost like she doesn't. It's a little kind of, not that she didn't like it. It's just more like she's like, why would you? I don't like that you have that because things like, um, I don't know. She just kind of said that um, I'm able to basically read stuff and somehow know process it so much so that I considered everything, and it's like am I was right about something that a lot of other people were kind of not on point about, I guess, or didn't expect. Uh, like she just sometimes is like, I don't understand how you know that, and I was like, I just feel like I was able to come to that logical conclusion, because that's how the world is. I don't know. It's the rules we operate on. I don't know that I'm sensitive. I don't know. If anything, I would think more
You have an uncanny intuition.
that maybe almost like a beacon in some regards.
Mm-hmm. I got it. Yeah.
I think extreme emotions can possibly. I don't know. I don't know. Actually, I don't think that doesn't make any sense. I just there is a lot more turmoil and negativity surrounding aspects of my family than um, let on. And Jamie posited she thinks that it could possibly be my father, and I don't think it's him. Um, just because of those negative connotations to things, especially surrounding my mother's husband. So, not a bad guy, but he's definitely doesn't. I don't think he follows the code of boundaries at all in any regard. I think he's invaded spaces he should not have, and I think that's left a very negative impression, and definitely with me, and that's what I was concerned about when people say, could this be drawn, or could it be attached, or could it even be manifested? It's a very real possibility because there is long-standing decades of that built-up resentment, and just a lot of really rough emotions. It's probably the biggest problem, or not problem, but the biggest, I guess, hang up for me. Uh, like the one thing that bothers me the most, I suppose, because it's really, really easy to not do that if you want to. So he's just, I think some of it is, but I don't think it's my father, and I wouldn't agree with my father anyway. I just wouldn't, because of how he lived his life. So do I think though that that's a real possibility? And that worries me more than a lot of them. Actually, I'd almost rather it be the other ones, because that means that there's no way. I don't think there's an end to that. Then you don't solve it. It doesn't get fixed. It doesn't. So if it's manifesting in that regard, it's always going to continue to. And when I say all this, it's not hate I have either. I don't hate the man by any means. I don't. I actually, it's not the opposite completely, but I wish that he had not thought of me as my father, I guess. Because I look a lot like him, and I'm a lot like him, just without some of the more worse traits that he had. But I kind of got pigeonholed like, yeah, because I am a little bit different than everybody, and they kind of avoid me, his family, and hurts my feelings. So it's caused hurt feelings for 20 years. And my father was his best friend. So that plays into it too. And I'm only telling everybody that right now because I'm worried that is a possibility, actually. I'm very worried that I don't mean to, or someone else don't mean to, and it's happening. And it's gotten out of control somehow. I don't know. It coincides with my nephew being born. My father wanted me, since I'm the oldest, to have kids, and I didn't. And he died in 2010, so he never had any grandkids, never. And now there's two, and the kids think of him as that, and that's okay. That's okay. I don't think that's wrong. Actually, I think he's done a lot of good for my mother, so I respect him for that. I don't respect how it happened though, and I think it has caused a lot of negative feelings on more than just with me, with my other brothers too. So one thing I'll admit, my nephew acts, if you have paternal, or not paternal, but whatever, I think I did say it right. If you have paternal grandparents, you don't act like this with them. He has a very, my nephew's 4.5. He has a very cold way about dealing with her husband sometimes. I've gotten on him even for it, because he's downright rude and nasty sometimes for being a 4-year-old. He's like, get out of the way. He's like, get out of the way. I don't want you around here. He's like, I don't want to have you in the room. And I'm like, I don't understand why he's doing that. It's weird. I've never seen a kid be like this with their, maybe I haven't seen enough, but it kind of bothers me. I don't like doing that, but it feels, I don't know. So there is a lot of residual negative stuff, but I would have thought it would have gotten a little bit better. Maybe it hasn't. So there's a lot of stuff at play. That's why I can't figure it out. But I don't think it's my father. Then again, it could be. I don't know. That's why I don't know. But yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff can play, the land and the people. It's actually, in my opinion, too, besides the crazy out there like quantum, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's the people and the land together. It's the environment and the people that live on it.
Right.
And that's what causes it. Because you have two components coming together. One doesn't have this, one doesn't have that, but together they they lock into each other. And I think maybe that's why it doesn't feel negative too, though, man. And why I don't feel threatening. I think that's why. Because despite everything, I refuse to feel that way. And to hold that, I won't. Even if I'm treated a certain way, I control myself. I control my emotions. I control how I feel. So however anybody else wants to feel, that's on them. Well. So I think that's why some of this is happening. But I can't say for certain. So I don't feel in danger of it at all.
Good.
Maybe I'm just being brazen, but I'm more fascinated. I just want a little bit more in the way of like something. And I probably won't get it because I'm very much like that. James always gets on me. You want definitives. You want tangibility or whatever. Yeah, I do. I want just a little thing, just some kind of hint of what this is.
Mm-hmm.
If it is an entity, give me an indication, not even just something where I can say, oh yeah, okay. Because if I'm wrong, I don't care. I am not a physicist. I am not a scientist. I am not really much. I'm not any label. So me having these opinions and someone saying, well, or proving me wrong, I don't care. Like again, I make fun of stuff because I like to. That's how I do in my life. I make fun of everything. I bring a brevity to it, just like with the dog man. But if someone's brought a dog or I saw one, guess what? Suddenly, I was wrong. I mean, it ain't gonna be like, oh God, it's more like, holy shit, I'm wrong. I was wrong. Good, because this is pretty fucking sweet. Like this is holy shit. So like, I mean, seriously, like, it's fucking awesome. Like it's crazy. So if it's real, that's cool. I mean, just because I don't personally ascribe to it doesn't mean its existence or its non-existence does not depend on me. It doesn't. So me saying something like, who gives a shit? I'm not out to offend anybody. Don't be offended by me. I ain't shit. No, I mean, it's just doesn't mean nothing. I just like to have fun with stuff because, same thing for me. It's like, so let me get this straight. You have a hunting where you smelled rotten meat and someone said hello to you. Oh, well, when you put it like that, yeah, it does sound kind of fucking stupid. Thanks, man. I mean, you got to have a sense of humor about things with yourself. And that's how I am. Like, it's just like, so it made you smell rotten meat. And it's like, look, man, you weren't there. So,
Right.
because it does sound goofy as shit. But that's the thing. Like, I have fun with it. Have fun with life. It's too short to be mad at each other over things that you. To me, it's like you're fighting over unicorns and and others. It's just like, dude, don't fight each other over it. Just have a laugh about it because it is crazy. I mean, and there is some goofiness out in the world, like to all of everything. So, and then there's times to be serious. It's just, mix it up. I don't know. I just embrace the things like this in life because, like I said, not everybody gets to have cool little stories and talk to people like this and meet good people like this. I mean, if I would never know you. So I mean, I wouldn't know some of these other people. I wouldn't see all these cool opinions. Like, that's how I look at it. If someone came over me and said, "You're wrong. This is a spirit," and it's like, and they can show me, I'd say, "Okay, that's fine. I'm not going to offend it. Like, oh, my theory was wrong. Like, I don't care. Like, it's cool. It's like, just go with it. So it's all right."
Dude, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I was almost right there where Claude was. I mean, I was thinking that you had some spirit either attached to the place or attached to you, or something like that. But
not wrong. That could be real too. It could be attached. I mean, I've had stuff happen for a long time. It could be an attachment. I haven't ruled that out either because I can't. So I don't disagree with him actually at all. Like, he's not too far off from what I've thought. That's what scares me is hearing that someone else say it. And I'm like, yeah, I thought that. Shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, seriously, like anybody, like that's the thing, like what I'm putting forth, like take some, like the elements from it. You don't have to take everything, but you don't have to get mad. Just like, with some, I don't ascribe to all of it, but like the biggest thing, him saying that, I have already thought that, and I haven't ruled it out at all. It's just one of those I keep in the back of my mind because it might not be me actually. And if it's not me, it's not good. Because I don't know how I would be open to trying to get rid of it. Other people are not going to be like that. So it's going to be a rough ride.
Right.
Especially if it gets stronger. But again, I mean, nothing's been focused on anyone or nasty towards anyone. It's mostly just been like this blubbering giant thing that is looking at little things like going like a puppy almost. Like when you go to the dog, like, oh my God, I can't take it home, but I want to pet it so bad. And it's like, it doesn't understand. The puppy's like, I don't know what's going on. Yep. And so that's kind of what I feel like. And that's what I mean by when I feel small. I feel like this is something so much bigger than I have ever encountered. And if it wanted to eradicate me, I'm not sure that it couldn't figure a way out eventually. I don't think it can. Just as much as I can eradicate it, I also don't want to, and I don't think it wants to. So I mean, again, that's what it does for me.
That's kind of where I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's almost as much a victim as you are right now. It's a possibility.
And it's almost like, yeah, I don't. That's the thing. Victim, I don't.
That might be too strong a word.
Yeah, and this thing, I don't feel like it has the. Again, Lee, I'm good. I'm getting too probably crazy, and I'm fine with people even saying that, like, you're going too far, John, or you're thinking too much. But like, this thing almost doesn't have a concept of anything about us so much. Like it just, but it's. I don't know. Maybe it does. I don't know how to describe it. I just feel like it is so much more than we are. That it is unconcerned. Like, it's not it doesn't have any concern that we can do anything to it or affect it. It's more like again, looking down at an ant, it's like, well, I could step on you, but it's like I don't have that in me. I don't want to just destroy. I'm just curious, no big deal, and that's it. It feels like an element, and I don't. So I mean, again, I also think it could be something of the earth that we don't know about, and something's I don't know. It's appeared because of the massive changes going on within just our atmosphere, atmospherically and environmentally, whatever you want to call it. It's almost a trigger, like it's a reflex or something, and it's like trying to figure out why are you whatever. And I don't know. I don't know. I can't fully. Again, that's getting way to me. That's speculative fiction. It's kind of bullshit. It doesn't make sense. So
Right.
I'm fine calling myself out.
Well, we need to throw these theories out here. Maybe, try and land on something. Throw that spaghetti at the wall, see
That's what I'm
what
saying. I don't
sticks.
That's the thing. Claude's not his experience. You've got to. What I take away from anyone who has whatever, those are his experiences. He's a product, just as I am, of my experiences.
Right.
We are products of those things. That's why we form our opinions, because
Right.
we've seen or felt the evidence, whatever you want to call it, and that's how we formulate it. So, to me, to say, well, I don't grow. That's why I say I don't ascribe, because when I say that, I don't think the attributes fit as far as that goes. I'm more telling him, hey, no, this is actually what you experience. I don't think this is it, man. It's different. Something's not quite on the par with what you might think, because you've had different experiences than I have. Just as what he's saying, I couldn't tell him. That's why I don't think anyone's wrong. It would be disingenuous to say that. I wouldn't do that. It's more just like, I've thought of that. It don't feel like it. It's different, but I know where you're coming from, and I know what you're saying. Absolutely. So it's yeah. I mean, that's the thing, and just like Hiker said, and then he can make you do, pass the field depending on certain events. I mean, that's the thing. Like, what Hiker is that's not, again, that's, I know where you're going, and I get that's not exactly the feeling of this. It's not. I don't feel like I'm going to be honest. I am not sensitive, but again, I have a way of kind of seeing different angles. And again, I've already looked at is this threatening? Is this thing, whatever? Can it still turn out that way? Maybe. I don't want to put that out there, I guess, too much, because it's just like, what if it is reacting to my energy? What if it is like coming off and it's like, you think I'm trying to hurt you? Well, fuck you. I will hurt you then. And it's like, oh shit. Oh no, wait a minute, brother. And it's like, so I just don't want to think of it negatively. And if it turns out to be negatively, I'll go, I thought the best of you. And so then we'll deal with it. But I'd rather take that approach, I guess. I thought the best of you, and then when you turn. But I understand what everybody's saying, and that's what's so bizarre to this. Like, I have had encounters with things that you would consider ghosts, supernatural. I've seen things. He smelled things. No, that's the dumbest thing. That's the dumbest ability to have. I smelled something weird. Okay, like, I mean, I've had enough stuff and kind of run again. I understand what those things kind of could be. I can agree a lot more. This is all over the place. I don't understand it. It's all over. It's all over. And the fact that I understand everybody's hearing this from me, you're hearing secondhand events. I'm telling it just as I've told it. And Jamie even came in and reminded me of stuff, and she said, no, you didn't. It's like, I won't fight. I'm like, oh yeah, shit, you're right. I did go back up for a minute. I didn't go all the way back up because I was like, oh, fuck that. And plus we had a time thing. I did want to go back, but I just didn't. I don't know. It was almost like I was kind of trying to be a tough guy almost, I feel like, in a way. Like I was trying to be too much. And that's why I was like, no, I'm not tough. I was like, I'm gonna go back. So like, I don't know, man. I don't know. This is unlike anything it's if you look at all the opinions, Lee, look at all the opinions everybody has on this. They go every single direction I have already thought they
I
could
believe
go.
that.
And that's what's bothering me is like nobody all these opinions, dude. I thought them, and I guarantee I'm thinking the same thing you are, and um, that's why I don't think anybody's, everybody's throwing out there, saying it's Bigfoot. Don't think for a minute I didn't think that shit myself, because that's exactly what the hell that smell is associated with. I'll even give you a fucking dog, man. I don't really want to, but I will. That's exactly what
Right.
my mind went to. I was like, that's kind of what those creatures are supposed to smell like, and that's what happened real quick. What? Then, holy shit. But then it's like, it doesn't behave the same way. Like, it doesn't linger. You don't have any other detectable. So it's literally just a very, very tiny element of that. But it's a very palpable element that makes everybody start going towards this and that and saying, this is it, this is it. It's making people start making definitive statements. And it's like, it's not behaving like that all the way, guys. It's almost like it wants you to jump to conclusions somewhat. Or it's meant to do that. I don't know, but I follow everybody. Trust me, everybody that said something, I've seen it, and I definitely thought it myself.
I've seen you. You've been all up in chat with just like with everybody else.
And that's what I'm saying. Everybody giving it. I appreciate it. I think it's really awesome. I'm very surprised actually that people were I mean, I'm like, oh, I didn't know you would be. Like, I just, because it sounds kind of goofy all like together, and it's like goofy shit. It's like, and it's not anything like real sensational, I guess, but it's absolutely happening, and I'm not gonna lie, I feel fucking nuts. My logical mind is like, this. You're something. This is not happening. I guess that's the way to put it, but it is.
Yeah. But I think it's part of the territory, man. I think if you didn't feel nuts, you would be. Do you know
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
mean,
saying? I feel like that a lot when I get to telling somebody a story that's happened to me, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Hell, sometimes it even coming out of my mouth, and it happened to me. It's like, dude, you sound like a complete loon. you
so
know.
it's
So
interesting
yeah.
then. With you, then you've had some crazy shit, man. You've had really, honestly, some really that. Wow. What do you have any kind of thoughts? I guess then on like why it does happen to you?
Mm, honestly, yeah. hmm And it's one of these things that I'm coming. I'm aware of it. I've been aware of it for a very, very, very long time. But
Interesting. Okay.
I'm just coming to grips with it. You know what I'm saying? Just dealing with it. Saying this is who I am. This is part of what I am, and I can't run from it. I'm sensitive
You know what? Do you
to
think
some
there's
degree.
levels then to the sensitivities? Like, because I mean, whatever. I just know being around James. When people say sensitive, I guess because I don't have what she has. I
hmm
don't have that. I don't know what her clairvoyancy. I don't experience anything like that, like what she does. How she describes it, absolutely not. We are very maybe there's levels of the sensitivities and different kind of like ways, like varieties, if you will. Because if you put it under that, yes, I do think I am. Again, it's almost like It's weird. The only time I hear her talk about experiences, it's been when she's had them with me. She's not had them on her own much, but she does have an ability. I've heard it. I've seen it. I've seen her work with people. She wouldn't have people come back to her time and time again if she didn't do her if her gift wasn't there, if she couldn't guide them. I mean, she's helped people actually help them. I mean, it's admirable. But I don't have that. But she doesn't have the ability because unless she's holding something back, she's had some weird little things happen. I've had other people, but she's never had anything like what in the last few years she's seen happen to her over the course of her life. So she's sensitive in a different way, in that she has a very unique, almost just out there thing. I don't even know how to. It's crazy that it's what she has. As far as like, it's wow, it's cool. Um, but I feel like that's the thing. Like, how does these things happen to you? How do they happen to me when they don't happen to a lot of other people? And this property has made me realign that. I feel like if anyone, that's the 4 people and the 2 that would have more shit because they're here in the house and shit, it doesn't interact with them the same way. That's what fucks me up. I mean, I guess I haven't touched on that. It does not interact with them. It seems to almost try to with me. It's almost like my mom, it tried to with her with the knocking. It didn't get the response it wanted. So it was like, I'll just do this shit again and see if I can't get somebody finally. And I wonder if that drew something in that's, get in my mind. What if
Dude, that makes sense.
innocuous as me thinking someone's at the door, something about me being sensitive to a different frequency, vibrate with something I can, just like I talked earlier, the hello, do I walk through an area and I burst the bubble somewhat, or is it like, do I give it more like ability, not but something, but like I wonder, because it's like that's the only time something like that happened. That knocking, nothing else is repeated. Nobody else has experienced the same thing at all, even close, really. Just the knocking, and that was what kicked it all off, pretty much. Because before that, it felt like all it was electronic interference, very, very minimal, and that was it. So I guess I just think that too, and that's terrifying, I think, because I didn't mean to. If that's what happened, that's just fun to think about too. I don't fully believe that, but it lingers in my mind. So yeah, I mean, I think even you're more sensitive, possibly, than what I would have. I think mine just feels like almost like the stupid blinking thing around Trinket's neck, the little nightlight. It's almost like that's what I am, just a blinking, like a glowing light. And it's like, that's it.
That might be just enough, man.
Yeah, I think there's levels to it, and I think you're on.
Yeah,
something.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. It's fascinating. If I ever am able to, I would really absolutely like someone to investigate this with an open mind.
Yeah.
I would love it. I've been thinking that ever since last Sunday. I'm in over.
I'm telling you, man, if I could get down there, I sure as hell would.
I mean,
you better believe it.
That's the thing. Like, I mean, those videos. I might take another one to make them a little shorter and just go around the entire property during the day to get a better idea of things and positions. But like, I know me recounting them, but actually being on this, sizable area, it's gorgeous, actually. And that's what's crazy, man. The garden, or the little flower bed, that lady that she went into a nursing home 4 or 5 years ago, her garden, her flower bed, nobody tends to it. I pulled some weeds last year and pulled out some of the dead plant, cleaned it up a little bit. But I mean, it's obvious they're perennials, which they do come back. But man, there's like a vine that it doesn't look like it was planted on purpose, that is like swirled around a tree that is definitely not supposed to be there, like a little mini sapling. And it's like this thing that's gone untouched by human hands has grown and done, its own thing. And it's just different out here. That's what's weird about this land. There's something different about it, but I don't know if it's all the way bad. It's just a little bit different. And then I've never seen, or I've just never seen some of these things, like fauna and flora. Anyway, like they're native to our state, but not to this area. I know that much. So that's what's kind of weird too. The little wildlife is drawn here. I've counted easily over 10 different bird species that all live pretty much together. It's weird.
That's crazy.
Only one that's not here is blue jay. It's the only one I don't see.
Really?
Yeah, don't see blue jay. Now cardinals, obviously, because that's whatever. But mockingbirds, weirdest one, like I said, I think I told you, emerald, the emerald bird, the colored bird, the tree swallows.
Right.
They usually don't make nests in flat grass. It's and they're beautiful. They glide. They don't flap their wings like other birds. They'll flap for a few minutes, and then it's like they just glide through the air. I love them. I think they're so cool. But we have eastern bluebirds, there's robins because they're regular sparrows. We have 2 different sparrows, speckled. We don't and finch, yellow finch are all in the parklands. So it's like there's just such a diversity here that you don't find anywhere else in the city. Like it's almost like it's drawn here for some reason. It's like a comfortability, and that's why I don't feel threatened by it. But again, part of me feels like I want to figure it out. I don't know. And nothing may happen for months, actually. So I don't know. That's pretty much it. I mean, I probably left some stuff out because my mind always rattles around. Remember something later, like I did with that call I told you about, which was bizarre.
Well, you've been on here with me, and I do the same damn thing. So I mean, it was no big deal. I think everybody got the I think everybody got the gist.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, I need to make videos. I mean, like I said, I've made a few and under my name.
Right.
I don't really have a channel like built up or anything, but I have a few videos here and there. I need to put more up, and I honestly I want to tour the property and put that up just so it gives everybody better, because there's certain aspects I think you just get left out.
I hear you. Yeah. Anyway, dude, I appreciate you coming on here and sharing your story and letting everybody. Oh, dude. Fucking, you're welcome, man.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Anytime, man. Anytime. I think you knew that, bro.
I appreciate it. Like I said, it's a great. I tell you, man, you're doing a huge service. Actually, you know your shit. Humble about it. Good man. And it's done a world of good for me to have an outlet actually for this, because I mean, I didn't always. I'm
good.
Been on my own, man. I guess. I don't like that. Now that I know how it feels to have actually people like Ray asking questions, like Ray asking questions about, like, I mean, that's what I said last. Like, dude, that don't bother me. That's awesome. Ask away. Like, I'm not. You're not bothering my. I mean, come on. I ain't nothing. Yeah. See. No, I think that's awesome. I was like, I answer what I can, and then I stumble upon my grandfather as one of the poorest Freemasons you could ever see. So it's like my great grandfather, and I didn't leave a shit. Didn't even leave a poker ass ring. So mad. And I'm like, who killed JFK, you bastard? And he's like, it was. And I'm like, no.
Well, man, I'm gonna wrap this up because it's 3 hours, and I'm gonna get my ass in the bed. Everybody, dude, thank you everybody for coming by, hanging out with us, and being so amazingly supportive, and making this channel what it is. Seriously, I mean, it is what it is because of everybody here. Hiker, Ray, Hoff, Pine Island, all you guys, and Eric, if you're still around, dude, thanks all of y'all. Thanks all of y'all for hanging in there, and we're gonna wrap this up. And until next Wednesday, we're doing another one, 10 o'clock on Wednesday. Until then, remember everybody. Until next time, I love you, mean it.